It was a different kind of a Citi Field last night, a home run hitting Citi Field. And now on a Sunday afternoon, a big game coming up for the Mets. And what kind of power can they produce from their lineup today as a rookie pitcher tries to go where none has gone in 27 years? At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Ron Darling joins me in just a moment, and Hall of Famer Ralph Kiner later on as well, as the Mets play the rubber game of their three-game series against the wild card leading Atlanta Braves. Mets came into this series 8 games behind. They are still 8 games behind Atlanta. They get one more crack at the Braves, then 6 more later in the year. Last night, the Mets put on a home run barrage, the like of which they have not seen this year. 4 home runs. Justin Turner got it started, second batter up against Tommy Hanson, going oppo for just his 3rd home run of the season. He hadn't hit one since June the 1st. Then Jason Bay, with the Mets down by 3, made it a 1-run game. Bay is starting to get hot. Then for good measure in the 4th inning, Josh Tolle, who had hit just 1 home run all year, tied the game with his 2nd, also into the bullpen in right center. And then later in the inning, it was Turner Redux, his 2nd of the night, his first career 2 home run game to put the Mets ahead, a lead they would never relinquish as the Mets beat the Braves 11-7. It was an unexpected power barrage, and now we'll see what the Mets can do for an encore.
Listen, Gary, I hate hyperbole, but I'm going to be guilty of it here. Never do you really see a game in the beginning of August as a must-win game, and I think it is a must-win game, not only against your main rival for the wild card against the Atlanta Braves, but also you look at that 5-game losing streak, only scored 9 runs. Last night broke out with those 11 runs. They're going to have to pitch better and hit like they did last night if they're going to make a run at the wild card.
On the mound this afternoon for the Mets, Dylan G going for his 11th win. The last time a Met rookie won 11, 1984. 2 guys named Gooden and Darling.
Well, Dylan G has been fantastic all season long. Remember when the Mets were facing the Braves after they had lost a doubleheader? Their record was 4-11. Well, Dylan G started that game and won it and got them steady and got them on a better roll. And he's going to be going against today Mike Minor, Vanderbilt product, first-round product. He's going to try to change the likes of the pitching, especially starting pitching for the Atlanta Braves on this road trip. 24 1/3 innings, 24 runs allowed.
Minor coming up from the minor leagues to make the start with Jair Jurgens going on the disabled list. Rubber game, Mets trying to get within 7 of the Braves and give themselves some breath in the wild card race. All the action coming your way this afternoon on SNY. Brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Common Ground Alliance. Know what's below. Call 811 before you dig. By Nathan's Famous, official hot dog of the New York Mets. Visit a Nathan's restaurant today. By Lexus. And by Cholula Hot Sauce. Want the perfect balance of flavor and heat? Add Cholula Hot Sauce to your next meal. Just look for the iconic wooden cap. Follow the Mets with the MLB.com at-bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Check in using at-bat at Citi Field to receive special offers. Text at-bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for details. Here's your Dunkin' Donuts around the majors. Justin Verlander now 16-5, 7 innings, 5 hits, 8 strikeouts, and a 4-3 win over Kansas City. The Padres have scored 28 runs in their last 2 games. That's a club record. The Pirates have now lost 9 in a row to fall 4 games under 500. San Diego winning last night 13-2. And the Brewers keep rolling. Prince Fielder 3 for 3, homer, 4 RBIs, 7-5 win over the Astros. The Brewers still 3 games up on the Cardinals in the National League Central. Dylan G's had some extra time off after the rain out the other night. He'll be taking the mound here at Citi Field. Let's see if he can match that kid. First pitch coming up. To you by Ford. Chipper Jones played last night, came out late because of the wet conditions with the quad injury and out today. He plans on playing tomorrow as Freddie Gonzalez shuffles him back in. So Martin Prado moves to third. Another start for Jose Constanza, who's been a spark plug for Atlanta. And J.C. Boscan, a career minor leaguer, gets the start. Back up to David Ross with Brian McCann out.
Well, those are the Verizon numbers for Dylan G this season. 8 of those 10 wins have come since May 19th. He is in the top 10 in tons of categories. Tied for first, though, with those wins with Hellickson and Nova in the American League. And behind Dylan today on defense for the Mets, the Lexus Mets defense, Bay, Pagan, and Hairston, of course, gets the start against the left-handed Mike Minor. Right, Reyes, Turner, Evans gets the start today at first base. A little bit of a surprise the way Murphy has hit, and Ronnie Paulino behind the plate.
Derek Collins getting every available right-handed bat into the lineup today against Minor. So Murphy sits, and I think that is a bit of a surprise. because Murphy has hit lefties well this year. Michael Bourne leads off against Dylan G. Bourne's had a good series. 3 out of 7. Had a stolen base last night. Bourne hitting at .305. This is his 6th game with Atlanta after coming over at the trading deadline from Houston. And for Dylan G, he's pitching on his 9th day. Remember, he was rained out of his start Wednesday night against the Marlins, and rather than pitch him in the opening game of the series, Terry Collins and Dan Worthen decided to push him back to today.
Well, he had a lot of rest over the All-Star break. He threw twice on the side, which he did this time also. They were worried, though, that his command would be a problem as he goes 3-1.
Well, the last time he had a long break, he actually came back and pitched well his next time out against the Cardinals. 3-1 now to Bourne, and he throws a borderline strike, 3-2. Tony Randazzo, the home plate umpire today. Martin Prado on deck, then Freddie Freeman as we get started on a Sunday afternoon. 3-2 to Bourne, misses badly, and G has walked the leadoff hitter. So G, who's averaged 3.6 walks per 9 innings this year, a little erratic to the first batter. And now he'll take on Martin Prado. Prado 3 for 8 in the series, including that triple he hit last night that went in and out of Duda's glove in right field. Braves still without their best hitter, Brian McCann. But this is a very different Braves lineup now with Bourne and Constanza playing just about every day. They've got a ton of speed, and anytime Bourne gets aboard, he's a threat to go.
Threat to go. Prado is an excellent two-hole hitter, a guy that can hit and run, hit behind the runner.
G has been pretty good at controlling the running game this year. And Prado first pitch swinging, pops one up. Hairston in, Evans back, over comes Turner, and Evans makes the grab. Turner went flying into the low stands. He appears to be okay. But Nick Evans makes the grab for the first out of the game. Turner came flying by just as Evans was catching the ball.
Well, Evans made this catch pretty easily as he reaches out and snatches it away from Turner. And it looked like Turner was also calling it. But nice job by Evans. See how he runs to a spot, his head down, then finally picks up the baseball and makes a tough play look easy.
And that low fence always a concern because it hits you at just the wrong part of your anatomy to brace yourself properly. So 1 out and 1 on. Here's Freddie Freeman, who's riding a 20-game hitting streak. The Braves are the first team since 1980 to have 2 players with concurrent 20-plus hitting streaks. Freeman with a 20-game streak. Dan Uggla behind him in the lineup, 27. Last team to have 2 at the same time were the 1980 Texas Rangers with Al Oliver and Mickey Rivers. Wow. And incredibly, the time before that also involved Al Oliver with Pittsburgh with Richie Zist. Keith was talking about it last night, and I hardly agree. Oliver is a guy who should be considered for the Hall of Fame. Freeman out to right center. Hairston on the run, runs it down. Bourne all the way to second base, but Hairston did not see it, and Bourne able to get back easily. Nice play by Hairston for the second out.
What's interesting about this hit here from Freeman, or this contact from Freeman, a lot of top spin on this baseball. When it came off the bat, you just figured it was going to be over the head of Scott Hairston, but it kind of came down. And Hairston, with that good hustle, able to make that play. You know, traditionally more of a left fielder, center fielder, Hairston, than right.
So now 2 out. Bourne still at first, and here's Uggla. 4 for 9 in this series. Had 3 hits last night, including a home run his last time up against Manny Acosta in the 9th. He's got 24 home runs this year, and half of them have been hit during this 27-game hitting streak. And a good pickoff throw, but it gets through Evans, and Bourne will go to second base. Looked like they were going to pick him off, but it skipped through Evans, and so Bourne advances.
Well, occasionally what you'll have in a first baseman, he knows that they picked him off, so he tries to make a quick tag. The problem is he didn't catch the baseball first. That'll be an error on Nick. He can just sense that you know you're going to have a play at first base, and sometimes you get a little quick, and that's what happened to Nick there.
And they will charge it as an error on Evans, so Bourne in scoring position with 2 down. And Uggla takes it wide for ball 1.
Well, the Braves have been able to do very little against Dylan Gee this year. He's faced them 3 times and given up a total of 1 run. 2 wins and then a rain-shortened no decision the last time he faced them in the middle of June.
Very interesting. Like the first game of this series, Mets have chose to pitch to the hot hitter. Hayward has just struggled all season long. 2-run single in that first game for Uggla. Here, first base open.
See those pitching lines for Dylan. Went just 4 innings in that last one because of the rain. To the right side, and Turner is there. And so Gee gets out of first inning trouble after the leadoff walk. And the Mets have come to bat against Mike Minor with no score. Here's your Geico Mets starting lineup for today. All right-handed bats in there against Geico, despite what it says there about Nick Evans. That would be news to Nick, wouldn't it? Jose Reyes leads off against Mike Minor, and he takes a strike on the inside.
Well, I've heard of hitters making adjustments, but that's a little too much. Minor, #1 pick for the Atlanta Braves, 2009.
Well, there was the time, remember, that Billy Martin told Mike Pagliarulo, a left-hand batter, that he should bat right-handed.
That's right. That's right.
Of course, Billy was,
one
step ahead of everybody.
Depending on what day he got that advice.
Reyes at .337, still leading the National League in batting. After 2 hits last night, he's looked a lot better swinging the bat these last couple of games. Scored his 80th run last night. Here's Turner on deck after his power display in last night's game. And Minor bounces 1, 2, and 2. For Mike Minor, his 7th start of the year, his 4th separate stint with the Braves this year. And during one of them, he made a start against the Mets in mid-June in Atlanta. And the Mets tore him up for 5 runs and 7 hits over 4 1/3. Also had a start against the Mets last year, which he won. And during all the conversation leading up to the trade deadline, one of the suitors for Carlos Beltran was the Atlanta Braves, and one of the names prominently mentioned in those trade talks was Mike Minor.
Well, they have so many talented young pitchers in the minors on their way to the big leagues, and Minor is one of them. Tehran is another.
Randall Delgado bounce to the left side. Votto spins around and throws out Reyes, one away.
Well, defensively, you see Prado there at third base in place of Chipper Jones. Costanzo has been outstanding this series. Bourne and Hayward, Prado, Gonzalez, Ugla, and Freeman. They're steady eddies in the infield. And J.C. Boscan is getting the catching duties today to relieve David Ross. Here's Chipper Jones. Shades on, chilling.
Chipper easing his way back into the lineup. Played last night. So here is Turner. Only 2 home runs on the season before last night. He doubled that in 4 innings. In fact, the Mets hit 4 home runs in the first 4 innings last night. It was the first time they had done that since 2006 in a game at RFK Stadium against Livan Hernandez. Seems if you delve through most of the offensive positives for the Mets, when they do something good, it's usually the last time since 2006.
That's right. When everything seemed to go right.
That's a quite juggernaut that year. When they hit the 4 home runs in the first 4 innings in that game, it was Beltran, Wright, Cliff Floyd, and Carlos Delgado. What was so impressive about Turner last night was the way he went to the opposite field.
I mean, this is where very few right-handers go, and with ease. And this one just got over the wall. Tommy Hanson didn't have his breaking ball last night.
Yeah, that was really emblematic of Hanson's evening. Bad location with his fastball, a lot of hanging curveballs.
Well, the thing about Hanson is that he's had an unusual year. Early on was outstanding. He had some games that were just off the charts. A 14 strikeout game in 7 innings, but there's been, not rumors, but you know, he's been pitching with a probably less than 100% arm right now. But you know, you like to see your pitchers trying to go out there even with less than their best stuff.
David Wright hitting 3rd in the order today, waiting on deck. 2-2 to Turner, and he takes it just inside. Well, it's interesting looking at the Braves going forward this year. You know, they've got a 3.5 game lead in the wild card. Most of their season has hinged on their pitching. And while the 3 guys at the back of their bullpen continue to be brilliant, their starters have hit a bit of a speed bump. Turner lines a base hit. A good turn at bat there for Justin Turner. And the Mets have their first base runner of the day.
Boy, this is incoming to Mike Minor. He stayed down in the strike zone, but Turner has done a nice job of that big leg kick and hitting that ball about knee high. And watch back through the originator, as you call it, Gary. And Minor had to duck.
You have to like what you've seen from Turner in his rookie season, because every time he seems to be hitting a bit of a wall, he pushes that wall out of the way.
He, you know, the Mets have some good young players that have come up with a lot of energy, and Turner is one of those guys.
Now David Wright, who has had a long double to left center in the first inning in each of the first 2 games of this series. And he takes a strike on the inside from Minor. It's a new camera angle.
I like that.
Gives a good look at the crouch that Wright is hitting out of these days. And Minor paints the outside, and he's ahead 0-2.
Boy, that's about as deep as you can go, right? Interesting, the colored laces, David shoes. What color is that, by the way?
That's orange.
Okay.
He's always had very entertaining footwear. And generally hikes up the pants for day games, showing all that blue sock. Blue. You know, Met color.
Okay. I don't always get it. You know that with the color stuff.
Swing and a miss. And Wright is down for the second out.
Well, he threw him everything, didn't he? Fastball in, a little fastball right, paint away. And this ball he hung a little bit. I think it's just that Wright hasn't seen Mike Minor enough.
So up 2 out. Turner still at first. Now Scott Hairston getting the start in right field against the left-hander. And Hairston has been very hot with the bat. His last 17 games, he's 10 for 26. That's a .385 average. And in those 26 at-bats, 4 homers and 10 RBIs. So a lot of production in a short period of time from Hairston. Had an RBI hit in the game last night, and what was unusual about that is he hit it to right field.
He is pull mode all the time, but you have to appreciate what Hairston went through. Struggled as much as anyone on this Mets roster and didn't make any excuses, kept working hard, and has come back all the way.
Off-speed pitch by Minor, and it's 0-2. Well, Hairston was brought here to hit against lefties, and he's hitting over 300 against lefties, but only one of his 7 home runs has come against the left hand. But he has got great natural power. Laces one to center, but right at the Gold Glover Bourne, and that retires the side. You can't hit it much harder than that. Mets get a base hit from Turner and leave one onto the second at Citi Field with no score. Days of rest. Walked the leadoff hitter in the first inning, but then found his bearings. Jason Hayward will lead off for the Braves in the second. Hayward has been benched 3 of the previous 4 games. He has not had a good sophomore season. And with Jose Constanza having given a bit of a lightning push to the Braves offense and defense for that matter, Freddie Gonzalez has opted to leave Hayward on the bench as he did last night. Hayward last year lost out in the Rookie of the Year balloting to Buster Posey, but had a spectacular rookie season. But he's had trouble matching up with that. Now, he had a shoulder injury earlier this season and was prodded by Chipper Jones to come back, and has not performed particularly well since he's been back. And you watch his swing right now, Ronnie, and you know, I'm not an expert by any means, but it looks like there might be something going on.
Yeah, he looks lost. Last year he had a really good approach at the plate. He was really trying to hit all the fastballs to left field.
Well, he hits this one deep to right center. Back goes Pagan, racing near the wall, and that ball is out of here. Well, he looked just fine on that swing. Jason Hayward hits a bomb into the Big Apple seats in center field. His 12th home run of the year, and the Braves go up 1-0.
I was just saying, he just has so much talent. It's hard to even believe he's batting in the 220s because a pitch down, middle, he has so much power. McCovey almost like power when he swings that bat, that he can hit a line drive over the center field wall. That's a 425-foot line drive.
And right into the GKR supporters in center field.
Little leg kick, not much of a step. You see rolls over that front ankle. and delivers a blow. Wow.
What we also saw in that swing is something we had not seen in this series, and that is him getting full extension.
He's hit a lot of balls at the plate or behind him. He hasn't gotten the head out. Certainly did there.
Alex Gonzalez lifts one out to left center. This one playable for Pagan. And Gonzalez retired one away.
Now, when we look at the IOTV pitch differential, you want that on the corner and down. It is down, almost lower than where the glove was for Paulino. But that down middle, down into a left-handed hitter, you usually have to rub up a new one.
And he hit it about 430 feet. So here is Jose Constanza. 3 for 8 in this series, making his 7th big league start after being called up a week ago Friday. And it has been a tremendous start. Corners in against his speed, and he tries the Rafael Furcal run up and swing mode, and it doesn't work for him.
Well, this is pretty ugly. Leg kick, and then walks up and was going to try to hit that over the head of David Wright. Not even close.
Timo Perez used to try that all the time with the Mets. Never worked.
There was a guy for the Indians 30 years ago or so. Miguel Delaney was the best I've ever seen doing it.
But well, for the Pirates too.
Yes.
Well, I've seen Furcal be successful with it. And the breaking ball just misses. And you know, it's not exactly the same as what Ichiro Suzuki does, but it's the same theory of you're on the move toward first base when you swing the bat.
Problem is most of these hitters tend to lean towards first base as he's. That'll be. I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. I have a little problem with that.
Now we've seen guys sniff the bat after making contact. It's that smell of burning wood, but the tongue involvement is a little odd.
Maybe if you're hitting close to 400 since being called up, you give it a little more love, I guess.
Wow, maybe excessive. Slap to short. Reyes knows he has to hurry against Constanza's speed, but throws him out easily. 2 away. By the way, it was inevitable, but Constanza's teammates have come quickly to referring to him as Georgie.
Oh, they have. That's great.
And they asked Constanza if he was familiar with.
Does he know the reference?
With George Costanza, and he said, "Well, when I was in the minor leagues, they used to play this music when I was coming up to the plate, and they told me it was the theme song from Seinfeld."
That's great.
Here is J.C. Boscan making just his 2nd major league start. Boscan spent 14 years in the minor leagues. He had 1 plate appearance for the Braves last year and walked, and now he's had 4 at-bats, including his first big league hit. Called up when Brian McCann was hurt. And it's off G and deflects up the middle for a base hit. So Boscan, who was never much of a minor league hitter, is now hitting 400 in the big leagues. He was hitting 194 in AAA.
Well, I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like Dylan G has one of these backhanded attempts a game. You see his follow-through brings him to first base. Doesn't have an opportunity to reach across his body. The backhand's the only play.
Now, Ronnie, you correct me if I'm wrong. It would seem to me that Dylan is the kind of pitcher who should be able to get in better fielding position.
He will save himself 25 to 30 hits a year. Be able to turn some double plays. That'll be something he could work on in the offseason. Absolutely.
There's Mike Minor, who has swung the bat well. Left-hand pitcher, but a right-hand batter.
You know, when you watch him, he doesn't really get that good push-off. The way you get in fielding position, everyone thinks it's how you follow through. You follow through. If you push off with that right foot, it gets you into fielding position. He doesn't really. He lets it kind of lag back into position.
It's interesting when you look at G. A lot of people have compared him to Rick Reed because they have a similar kind of an everyman, not hard thrower status. They wear the same number. But that's one thing that Reed did exceptionally well, was get himself in good fielding position. 0-2 to Minor, and the curveball gets him looking. That ends the inning. He has his first strikeout, but he finds himself behind in the game because of one big swing from Jason Hayward, who has been struggling. But 2 days shy of his 22nd birthday, he hits his 12th home run of the year, and he hit it. 1-0 Atlanta in the 2nd. Zoom, zoom. School is out and baseball is in for $10. High school and college students with a valid school ID can enjoy a Mets game with their fellow classmates at Citi Field. For more information, visit Mets.com. Jason Bay leads off the home second against Mike Minor. And bounces one foul, 0-1. Bay with a 2-run homer last night has now hit in 8 straight games, hitting .406 over the 8 games with 8 runs batted in. So it's been a good stretch for Bay, who has, over the course of his career, had a reputation for being a hot and cold hitter. Of course, the Mets have seen a lot more cold than hot, but right now he's getting warm.
When you watch Jason Bay hit, you just love to see him pulling the baseball. That another hanging curve from Tommy Hanson last night. I'm all for hitting the ball the opposite way. I'm all for him driving the ball over the fence like he did earlier in this homestand over that 415 mark. But that ball middle of the plate in at some point, Bay's going to have to handle and pull at this ballpark if he's going to kind of get those power numbers up.
Well, he had 6 home runs last year. He's got 8 now this year. Still a far cry from the 30 to 35 he would routinely hit in Pittsburgh and Boston. 1-2 from Minor, and it's driven right past Minor's ear. Boy, he's been a target already twice today. First Turner and now Bay hitting it right past the originator.
Well, it's a nice approach here early in the Mets. See the swing from Jason Bay. Not a big leg kick as Turner, but boy, hitting that ball right at the plate. When a hitter does that, that ball's going to be right up the middle. Now we've had 3 already. Turner with a bullet up the middle, Hairston with an out bullet up the middle, and Bay with another hit.
Well, Bay now has a 9-game hitting streak, and here's Angel Pagan. And watching those balls sail past Minor, I can't help but think about Juan Nicasio, the Colorado pitcher who got drilled by Ian Desmond on Friday night and had to undergo surgery yesterday for a fractured vertebra. And I know everybody in the baseball community is hoping he's going to be okay, and the doctors say that he should be able to make a full recovery, but that is just tremendously scary.
Physical recovery, going back on the mound is a whole different thing.
Ronnie Polino on deck. Pagan had a 3-hit night last night, and he hits one deep to left center field. Playable though for Constanza, and a long out for Pagan, 1 away. Bad part of the ballpark to test.
Costanza has from left center to the left field foul line with all that speed.
Well, we saw him make 2 terrific plays against Reyes on Friday night, kind of introducing himself to the Mets. Here's Ronnie Polino, who has not started any of the last 3 games. Like Nicky has got to start, and then Tolley the last 2. Tolley had a huge night last night. 3 hits, a home run, and caught Bourne trying to steal. Polino in there against the left-hander today, takes a strike. Nick Evans hitting 8th in the order, waiting on deck in this all right-hand hitting lineup. The odd thing about that is, and it's a small sample, but Minor in his big league trials this year has struggled against left-hand hitters.
Well, his best pitch is his changeup, so that's what he likes to throw against the right-handed hitters. Also a pretty good breaking ball, so it's surprising that he struggled so much against lefties. I think it's because he doesn't face as many.
Well, and that's always the question, isn't it, when you have a lefty who has a good changeup? Is he almost better off facing an all right-hand hitting lineup?
Well, you know, talking to Tommy Glavine for all those years, when they used to put that all right-handed hitting lineup, all he had to do was pitch to one part of the plate. Outside fastball, changeup off the fastball. Pretty simple.
And it really, I would imagine, allows them to get in quite a rhythm. Polino hits it out to right. And Hayward is there. 2 away. So Bay still at first with 2 down, and now Nick Evans will get a turn. Evans just called back from the minor leagues yesterday. Mike Nicky is going back down. This will be just the 7th start for Nick this year. And So far, it's been one of those 4A years for Nick. He's hitting .313 in Buffalo, a .148 in big leagues.
Well, I think the hard thing for Evans, but you know what? This is the major leagues. You got to make the most of your opportunities. Usually, he gets 1 or 2 starts, and depending on how he does, is whether he gets another start. And that has not happened. He hasn't really had that 3 for 4 or 4 for 5 game.
You know, success in the big leagues is often all about opportunity.
That's right.
I mean, you just remember the Mike Jacobs story. Jacobs was supposed to go down to the minor leagues, got an opportunity to hit a home run, got a reprieve, hit 3 more home runs the next 3 days, and his career took off from there. And, you know, if he'd gone back to the minors that day, if he had not hit that home run, might not have never seen him again.
That's right.
0-2 to Evans. Now, in Nick's case, he came up to the big leagues his first day in the majors. That game in Colorado, he had 3 doubles. But he's been unable to sustain that. Miners ahead of him 0-2. Poke to the right side, and that will sneak through for a base hit. Bay stops at second. Nick Evans with a very soft base hit, and the Mets have 2 men on.
Well, you're thinking to yourself, this ball's hit so softly that Jason Bay should be able to go first or third. No. Why is the reason? Because of the hustle by Uggla to dive after that baseball. It's got to stop Bay in his tracks because he's got to say, boy, what if Uggla comes up with his baseball? I can't proceed to third. That's what kept him at second. Just hustle by Uggla.
So 2 out and 2 on. Chance for Dylan G, who has 3 hits and 2 RBIs this year. Mets down 1-0 in the second. If nothing else, that hit for Evans enables Reyes to lead off the next inning. And here's a Coors Light freeze cam as Evans went off the plate. Meanwhile, as you look at that close-up in the Coors Light freeze cam, Willie Harris has come out on deck to bat for Jose Reyes, and that is certainly of concern. 3-0 now to G. So Reyes, who grounded out in his only at bat and has had only 1 routine chance in the field, apparently is coming out of the game.
G lines a base hit on a 3-0 pitch. In to score comes Bay. Evans goes to third. G with an RBI single, and the Mets have tied it up. Did I get that wrong? Was it 3-0 or 2-1?
I think it was 2-1.
Gosh. G with his 4th hit, his 3rd RBI, and the Mets get even.
Oh, a good swing there by Dylan G. Mets pitchers have become a little more proficient at helping themselves. And just a lean to left field as Bay scores.
And as you get confirmation, it was a 2-1 pitch. Nonetheless, very impressive hit for G. So now Willie Harris batting for Jose Reyes, and that will send off alarm bells throughout Citi Field.
What happens there? Does Turner play shortstop? Harris at second?
He's the only one available, yep. So now Evans at third, G at first, and Harris pinch hitting. Willie struck out as a pinch hitter last night, hitting .237 on the year. And he takes it high for ball 1. So we'll try and get a report as soon as we can on Reyes. Here's Reyes on the ground ball that he hit. Certainly appeared to be nothing amiss there. Harris gets under one, shallow center field. On comes Bourne, and out goes Uggla, and it drops. Evans scores, G to third, and the Mets lead 2-1. Well, Michael Bourne stopped, thinking Uggla had that ball, but Uggla didn't really come close to it.
You know, Gary, I think what happened there for Freddie Gonzalez's crew is that Michael Bourne lost the ball in the sun at some point. Watch him. He loses the ball and tries to pick it up again, but never could make inroads to getting to that baseball. And Uggla, of course, no chance.
So the Mets get a big break there. Bourne usually catches everything out in center field. The 4th hit of the inning. And a fortunate one for Harris as a pinch hitter to drive in the go-ahead run. It's 2-1 New York. So now G is at third and Harris at first, and Justin Turner, who laced a base hit to center his first time up, steps in. And he pops this one up shallow right. A long run in for Hayward, but he'll get there to make the catch and end the inning. So the Mets have lost Reyes. We'll try and find out why, but they've gained the lead. 2-1 New York after two. And when we come back, Ralph Kiner joins us in the booth. Three credit scorers, one place. We go to the third inning. The Mets with a 2-1 lead for Dylan G. Willie Harris comes in at second base, and Justin Turner, who has played 2 innings at shortstop in the major leagues, that was with Baltimore last year, goes over to shortstop, and Michael Bourne pops the first pitch foul, 0-1. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin?
You know, guys, it was a nice night for Dylan G the other night in Brooklyn. They retired his number. Dylan was on hand and had his number put up on the facade and the upper deck in Brooklyn, and really enjoyed it. Really didn't realize how big of a deal it was, but he threw out the first pitch. Now, he went out there, stood in front of the mound, pretty much threw a lollipop up there that was high, and I asked him about it. He said, I got to tell you, I was more nervous throwing out the first pitch than I will be on Sunday. I was up there thinking, don't bounce it, get it over, throw a strike. He didn't bounce it, but it was nowhere near a strike. So I had some fun with him with that. But, Ronnie, how can a pitcher think about bouncing a first pitch? What's the deal with that?
Well, you know, you didn't have his cape on. You didn't have that Mets uniform on. Sometimes you go out there. I don't understand it. I would think that even today at my advanced age, I can go out there and throw a strike, albeit at about 54 miles an hour.
Now, is it funny that, you know, people just, your average Joe will go out and throw the first pitch and they'll dig in and throw from the mound, and Dylan G, the actual major league pitcher, threw it in front of the mound?
You know it's pretty amazing, Kevin, as Michael Bourne goes down swinging, is that I was talking to F.P. Santangelo the other day, who does the color commentary for the Washington Nationals. He was an amazing defensive outfielder. To this day, he cannot throw batting practice. If he tries to throw, he hits guys. He barely keeps it in the cage, and it's a very strange thing. You can throw maybe when you throw 90, but it's hard to throw just lobbing it over. I don't get it.
There are a lot of guys who can't throw batting practice.
Right.
Here's Martin Prado with one out as we welcome Ralph Kiner into the broadcast booth. The broadcast booth with Ralph Kiner's name on it. How are you, Ralph?
Oh, I'm fine, Gary. Nice to be back again and watching baseball from the booth.
Are you on the DL? You got a little.
Yeah, well, I heard it was going to work with Gary, and I started to cut my throat, and you stopped me.
You missed? Very nice.
Well, this is the first time we've seen you since SNY aired that wonderful special, 50 Amazing Years. I thought it was tremendous. Did you enjoy it?
I loved it. It was really well done. We had a lot of fun watching it, and I think they did a wonderful job of more or less chronologizing the overall picture of 50 years in baseball with the New York Mets. I mean, it was fun.
What I loved about it is it really showed all sides of you, both as a young man, as a hitter, both at your broadcasting career, your Kiner's Corner, your partners Lindsay and Bob, and so much of who you have been to this organization over the last 50 years. Did you have a favorite part?
In that movie, I guess actually not a movie, but a TV special. I really didn't have a favorite part. I just thought the whole thing was first class. Wow, get down fast.
Prado getting dusted by Dylan G. Where'd it get him?
Yeah, I got him all right. Just under the left elbow.
I think it got him on the elbow pad. Fortunately for Prado.
We've seen this happen so many times to Dylan. When he tries to come inside to the right-handers, he doesn't throw that four-seamer. That's true. It always runs inside, and it kind of chases the hitter. No chance for him to get out of the way.
Well, the thing about it, one thing you should learn when you're a young player is how to get out of the way of the ball. And you got out of the way by turning your back to the catcher and get your head down below your body. And he just turned. He didn't get down low enough. And so he gets hit.
By the way, that's the 10th batter Dylan G has hit this year, which now ties him for the National League lead.
See, he's straight up there.
That's right. It chases him, right, Ralph?
Yes, it does. And he got it. And if he turned his body to his right and got his head down, that ball would have gone by him.
By the way, are we sure it hit him and didn't hit the knob of the bat?
It looked like it there, didn't it?
I mean, that last Coors Light freeze cam looked like it might have gotten the knob of the bat.
Well, the sound when it hits the knob of the bat, and there again, it might have been. Usually you would have had Terry Collins or someone out there because you can really hear it hit the wooden part of the bat.
There's no sound when it hits that body out there.
That's right.
Bush. Freddie Freeman fly deep to right his first time. Grounds one to Evans. Gets the out. And no, it's dropped by Turner. And everybody's safe. So Justin Turner, his first play at shortstop on what looked like a sure double play, drops it for an error. And the Braves have two men on.
Well, the problem here, Evans makes a perfect throw and one-handed. You really want to try to catch that two-handed, get the out. Also two-handed, you can make that easy exchange. It goes off the end of his glove. And a mistake there for the Mets.
Oh, one of the things about baseball, there are so many managers now that play guys at different positions all the time. And there's always a different angle when the ball's coming to you when you move from, say, third to short or second to short or whatever. And so you have to be able to make those changes. It's very difficult to change position.
Mets' second error of the game, and now Dan Uggla takes a strike. So give an assist to the first baseman, an error on the shortstop. 53 minor league games is short for Turner, and just 2 big league innings before this happenstance with Reyes leaving the game. Uggla grounded out his first time up. And a good changeup by G, and it's 0-2. It's a different angle to see whether he actually got hit by the pitch. He got the bat.
Well, that ball hit the knob of the bat.
Yep. So a good acting job by Prado to sell it to home plate umpire Tony Randazzo and get himself a base. 0-2 now to Uggla.
Boy, 0-2. This would be a perfect time to put on a play, pitch out to Paulino, and throw the ball behind Freeman at first base. He is just so far off.
Well, you get Evans at first base also far off. He couldn't get to the bag.
But if he just inched over and they put the play on with the pitch out and threw it to first base, you'd have Freeman picked off. You never see that play anymore, though.
Problem you have right now on the infield is you've got a lot of guys playing out of position. And he held the swing 1-2. I mean, Evans doesn't really have a position. He can play all four corners. Harris is a guy who's been a second baseman and an outfielder most of his career, but has not played a lot of second this year. And Turner out of position at short. And
that's really caused by injuries and things you have to do to get some players on the field. You need bodies to be in those positions.
And the curveball lifted out to center field. Pagan barely has to move. And so Ugla retired. He's 0 for 2.
That was a very, very weak swing by Ugla. Ugla is a powerful hitter. He had a terrible swing of that hanging curveball. Look at this. That ball's got to be put deep in the outfield. Ugla has hit quite a few home runs in his batting streak. 27 games in a row he's had a base hit. And Ugla has done a pretty good job with those home runs.
Now Jason Hayward, who hit a bomb to center field for the Atlanta run, his 12th home run of the year.
When Joe DiMaggio hit in his 56 games, he had a total of 15 home runs in that period of time.
And Hayward is hit on the foot, and now the bases are loaded. So G, who didn't actually hit the first batter who went to first base, definitely hit this one. And now the bases are full.
This is really out of the strike zone. Got him on the back of the heel there.
So a two-hit batsman and an error fill the bases.
This is really a tough inning. That's kind of inning that you see big runs score.
The word on Jose Reyes, he left the game with a stiff left hamstring.
That is not good. Not good to hear.
Here's Alex Gonzalez with the bases loaded and 2 out.
I think G has proven that this 8-9 days rest, throwing in the bullpen a couple of times, has not been great for him. His command has been off since the beginning of the game. Hitting batters, and I think also, losing a little composure with the play that wasn't made in the infield.
Responds with a good changeup there, and it's 1-1.
He walked his first batter in this ball game at 3-1 pitch, and it was a ball 4 on the last pitch.
Bases loaded, 2 down, and Gonzalez fouls it back, and G's ahead 1-2.
The natural reaction for rookie pitchers, young pitchers, is when there's a misplay in the field, your mind goes to, you know what, I'm going to have to do this myself. And that, you should never go there, because that gets you in trouble.
You got to keep your concentration and composure.
And he gets Gonzalez with the fastball to get out of the inning. So a 2-hit batsman and an error, but G works out of it, and the Braves leave him loaded. Janae Coakley talks to Mike Tannenbaum about Plaxico Burress and Santonio Holmes. Find out whose Super Bowl catch he thinks was the best on Jets Nation Inside Camp tonight at 7 p.m. only on SNY. David Wright swings and misses as we start the bottom of the third. David struck out against Mike Minor his first time up. Jose Reyes leaving the game with stiffness in his left hamstring. Reyes returned to action on July the 19th, coming off the disabled list because of hamstring problems. He's played 17 games, including today, since his return. And now he's out of this game. Right at the shortstop, Gonzalez. And he throws out right one away. And you have to wonder now with the second injury, if that's what it is, how cautious the Mets will be with Reyes this time.
Injuries, especially to the legs, are the kind, Gary, where you really have to wait till the next day and see how stiff or how tight that leg is tomorrow. And we'll have a better indication of where Reyes and the Mets go.
Well, the one thing about it, when you say tight, it's really a knot that's in at hamstring.
Yeah.
And in the old days, and this is really painful, you used to take a rolling pin and roll it out.
That's right.
On the leg. And talk about pain when it does happen to you.
You know they have a modern system of therapy called the Graston technique, which is actually a similar thing to what you're talking about. They use tools to rub out those hamstring injuries. I know the Mets assistant trainer Michael Herbst is expert in using those tools. I know that because he did it to me.
Oh, he did?
And it hurts like heck.
Yes, sir, doesn't it?
Well, that was just to get you in the booth.
The question, Gary, with you is how did you do it? I mean, you don't run around a lot, do you?
Yeah, I do. Freeman sliding, and he makes a brilliant catch. What a play by Freddie Freeman, sliding it on his back and reaching out and somehow snagging it for the second out.
Freddie Freeman is one of those guys they talk about all the time, that he has a chance to be a Gold Glover at first base, and what a play. Hits to the heel of his gloves, still able to make that catch.
That's really an outstanding play. He is a tremendous prospect, this guy.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Jason Bay, who had a base hit to center and scored in the second inning.
You know, one of the things about Jason Bay is that he hits an awful lot of ground balls, which is the worst thing you can do if you're trying to be a home run hitter.
Jason with those sunglasses that he wears during the day games.
Well, he has blue eyes, you know.
What?
He has blue eyes.
Oh, that's right, the Josh Hamilton
Don't
effect.
forget the blue eye theory.
I haven't noticed. Has Josh Hamilton had a hit in the day game since we left Texas?
I don't know. Well, my dad has blue eyes. My mom has brownish black eyes. So they chose the brownish black to help me out in my career. See? There's been some pretty good blue-eyed hitters, haven't there, in the past, Ralph? Including yourself?
Well, I would say I got blue eyes. But I don't know how well Frank Sinatra did because he had blue eyes.
They played a few day games in your day, didn't they, Ralph?
A lot more day games they play now. Never thought about that. Wish I hadn't had that excuse.
3-1 changeup from Minor. And he gets full on Bay.
Jason far from the plate. Hit the ball hard his first time up.
Boy,
That was a bad swing.
Hard to document it, though, Ralph. But that's about as wide a stance as we've seen since Jason Bay's come over.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with a wide stance. Yeah. So I used a very wide stance, and I heard Keith talk about DiMaggio, whom I never saw play. But DiMaggio had a flat-footed stance and a very wide stance. Guys like Gus Sundigal, I used a wide stance. and it's keep you from moving too far frontwards.
As May is on with a walk. First walk given up on Minor. I guess the question is, with a wide stance, Ralph, is it harder to generate power from your lower body?
It is. It takes some of the movement of your body because you don't want the body to go too far forward, and by having a wide stance, you keep your body in the same position. When you take a swing, it should be a pivot around the sacral spine.
Today they would say it's a swing around your core. I think core is the big word that they use now. Your midsection. But the hitters in your day, they try to incorporate their legs today, Ralph. The hitters in your day, from the elbows down, were as strong as any. Their hands, forearms, wrists were the strength of a lot of hitters in past years.
When I would do push-ups on my fingertips to make my hands strong.
And you had a lot of guys growing up on farms in those days.
Right.
Milking cows.
Doing a lot of manual labor. 2-0 to Pagan.
There are many, many ways to go about hitting, and you've got to find one that works for you, but basically you have to be pivoting around a pretty stable spine, and that's very important. The swing is an art, and it has to be down to hit up.
John lifts one out to left field. Another easy play for Constanza, and that'll do it for the bottom of the third. So Pagan has flied out twice. We're through 3 at Citi Field on a Sunday afternoon with the Mets up 2-1.
Warm Sunday afternoon in Flushing, Queens. And Todd Zeal is in the ballpark today, an old friend, here with his 17-year-old son, Garrett. And Garrett, boy, what a neat life he's living right now. I was talking to him. He remembers the days being in the Shea Clubhouse, taking BP. Always remembers talking to John Franco and Robin Ventura, said they treated him so cool. Now, Garrett is on the verge of maybe becoming a rock star. He's a guitarist and a vocalist for the band Jetstream, who is currently touring with Stone Temple Pilots, a pretty big band. They just played in Atlantic City last night. They played in the Stone Pony at a legendary place in Jersey a little while ago. They've got 10 more sites on their tour right now, opening up for STP. And I asked him how that all happened, and he was recording a couple tracks with his band out in California, and Stone Temple Pilots happened to be in the very next studio. A guy from the band came over, took an interest, listened. Now they talk, they write together, and It's a pretty big deal for Todd Seale's son, Garrett. It's Jetstream, and it's Jetstream Rocks at Twitter if you want to follow those guys. Gary?
That is amazing, because I remember Garrett Seale when he was hanging around the clubhouse, 8 years old, when Todd was a Met. He was a constant presence in there for a couple of summers.
Well, an appropriate story for Kevin today, because it's a family day for the Mets and their families and children. Pretty cool.
Jose Constanza leading off in the fourth, and Kevin providing the report from the Big Apple seats in center field, where the Pitch In for a Good Cause Foundation, the Gary, Keith, and Ron charity, is having its annual event. And many hundreds of people on hand today for a great cause, raffles, and great food. And the Wheel of Keith. Did you get to see the Wheel of Keith?
I did see the Wheel of Keith. Is that like the Zen of Keith?
All sorts of Keith memorabilia. Everything but, but the life-size version.
Well, you know what's great about it, Gary, that it's the fourth year, and of course your lovely wife Lynn put so many painstaking hours into making it work, and there's a lot of new faces this year, which is great.
What's nice about the Pitch In for a Good Cause Foundation is that it's done a lot of great work for charity this year, building a shelter for victims of domestic violence. As G knocks it down, has to scramble after it, and can't get the speedy Constanza, who has himself an infield hit. But also there's a sense of community among the followers of the Pitch In for a Good Cause Foundation. And, it's accessed on the web at GaryKeithandRon.com, but, Kevin and Ralph have also lent their support, and we really are so grateful for that. And, the people who've been able to meet up, they're Met fans, but they've been able to take that Met fandom to a slightly higher order.
That's right.
By getting together with like-minded folks who are doing good works as well. And obviously, we encourage anybody who wants to be a part to check it out at GaryKeithandRon.com. J.C. Boscan, the batter, he had one off G's glove for an infield hit, or a hit that trickled through the middle his first time up. So a couple have gone off G for hits in this game amongst the 5 hits he's allowed. Third time in 4 innings the Braves have had the leadoff man on. J.C. Boscan is a great story of perseverance. One of those guys who was in the minor leagues forever. Signed in 1996 as a 16-year-old from Venezuela. 14 minor league seasons before finally getting a chance.
Those players that persevere and stay in the minor leagues, and I think a lot of us tend to forget they also have families that follow them wherever town they go to, and you just marvel that they just keep living the dream, trying to find that one chance to get to the major leagues, and it happened, thankfully, for Boscan.
And now G falls behind him 3-0. Well, we've seen the speed of Jose Constanza in this series. Let's put the clock on him, home to first.
Oh, very nice. He sees it go off the glove of G and turned it up a notch. Well, with the football players back in camp, I'd like to see his 40 time.
3-5 to first base. That's pretty good.
3-5 is very good. 3-5 is a record for a right-hand batter. 3-3 for a left-hand batter. And Mickey Mantle was right there involved in those records. That's how fast he could go, and he weighed, I would say, around 220.
Can you imagine what Mickey would have done if he hadn't hurt his leg?
Yes, well.
I mean, he was, one of the all-time greats anyway.
He didn't do too badly. You're right about that.
Triple Crown winner. MVP. Ball strike to Boscan, 3-2.
It's just amazing to me that day game after night game, very reluctant are the runners on first base to steal. It just base to base, even with the speed of Constanza.
It's interesting, Constanza does not have a stolen base yet for the Braves for all the other ways that he's displayed his speed. Should be running here on 3-2. And he is, and Boscan fouls it back.
Well, he's got a teammate that has a total of 41 stolen bases, and wow.
It's amazing, isn't it, how a team can be transformed just like that?
Yeah.
A team that had no team speed at all, and now they've got 2 of the fastest guys in the league.
You know what you really appreciate is Michael Bourne. It was hard to appreciate him with those Astros who were such a bad team, but you put him on a good team and you really appreciate the talent he has.
Constanza runs, Turner to his left, the scoop to second, not in time, and the turn by Harris in time to get Boscan. Well, Turner figured he'd try it, but Constanza with that great speed beat the play at second.
You can only make this play if you know the runner at the plate is very slow. Nice job to take a chance, and Harris has the wherewithal to know to complete the play to get an out. Take a chance at it. Bang, bang at second base. Good call by the second base umpire.
There's no way he could make an overhand throw here. He has to shovel it off. Came close, and a good try.
So it's simply a 6-4-3 putout. Constanza now at second with one out, and the pitcher Minor, not a bad swinger, and he takes a rip, 0-1.
That shows you right there. It was not a hit and run play. It was a 3-2 count. What the hit and run play is all about. Got that runner in motion, and you either can keep out of the double play, or you can go from first to third. It's a big play in baseball. A lot of people say it should be called a run and hit play.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you do run before you hit.
That's right.
Well, of course, the enemy of those hit and run plays, the strikeout and the line drive at somebody.
Well, the key to the whole play is for the batter to put the ball somewhere, and if it's out of the strike zone, you hope to foul it off so you can protect the runner who doesn't really try to get a big jump like a steal. He tries to get in motion so he can then take advantage of the early start.
The guy like Constanza, any motion is a big jump. Here's the 0-2 and a slider outside to Minor.
Minor struck out against Dylan G in that first at bat on a curveball. Probably see another one here at this 1-2 count.
G, like Nice last night, has been in trouble in every inning. Nice had the one big inning blow up on him. Still got the win. And that curveball misses 2-2. In fact, G got the win last night despite going 5 innings, allowing 5 runs and 10 hits. Only 3 other starters in Mets history have gotten a victory, allowing 5 runs and 10 hits in 5 innings. Jason Isringhausen's one of them. In fact, he was the last to do it before Nice last night. Dave Malicki, same year in '97, did, and George Stone back in '73 had one of those rather fortunate victories. 2-2 to Minor, and it's in the dirt. Polino can't get a handle. Now he does, and the throw almost went down the line. Right, saved a run.
Well, nice anticipation from Constanza, going with the backhand there for Paulino instead of blocking the ball in front of him, and it cost him. And nice play by David with leap there to keep that ball in front of him.
So it's a wild pitch moving Constanza to third. Now the Mets will bring the infield in with the pitcher at the plate and the tying run at third base. 3-2 the count. G needing a strikeout. And he walked him.
Well, that's after.
Well, he had him 0-2 and he lost him.
Yeah, that was a big chance to strike out the pitcher, and he didn't get the ball in the strike zone. Those are the little things that don't show up to see in the scorecard, on the scorecard.
Well, Dylan has put himself in harm's way now. The last couple of innings, much to his fault. 2 hit batters in the last inning here walking the pitcher.
And now you've got Bourne first and third and 1 out, and it's almost impossible to double up. Although the Mets will play at double play depth. And the curveball in for a strike. Bourne has walked and struck out today, 0 for 1. 3 hits and 8 at bats in the series.
I feel very shallow for Bourne.
That changeup, first pitch curveball, changeup. You know that G, when he gets in trouble, likes to go to that changeup against left-handed hitters. The only problem with Bourne, Evans holding on the pitcher at first base opens up a big hole. I'd play behind the pitcher personally.
And the curveball misses 2-1. Bourne, amazingly enough, has grounded into 5 double plays this year. It's more than I would have thought. And now he's behind 3-1. So after walking the pitcher, G having trouble throwing strikes and in danger of loading him up for Martin Prado. Mets clinging to a 2-1 lead in the fourth. All the runs in this game scored in the second inning. Now on 3-1, Bourne hits a ground ball. Harris gets the out at second. Turner's relay not in time, and the game is tied. And you just can't think that you're going to double up Bourne unless the ball's hit right at somebody.
And that ball not hit that hard, so it makes it equally tough to get the run at first base.
You have to appreciate, though, the mechanics there of turning that too. Harris was impeccable. Turner with the quick turn. Too much speed as you watch Bourne run down this line. What did they call it? Picking it up and putting it down?
Oh, he was really putting it down there.
So the wild pitch proves very costly and results in the tying run as Constanza comes home to make it 2-2. And now Prado with Bourne at first base, and he takes off first pitch, but it's grounded to David Wright. How about that? Low throw handled by Evans. So Prado not giving Bourne a chance to steal, but the Braves tie the game 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. There are your National League wildcard standings. The Mets, who have split the first two games of this series with the Braves, trying to get to within 7. Locked in a 2-2 tie this afternoon as Ronnie Polino leads off and skies the first one to center. And Michael Bourne looking through the sunglasses, one away. One pitch and one out. When the Braves leave town, the Padres come in for 4 games starting tomorrow night. First meetings of the year between the Mets and Padres. We'll get to know each other very quickly. 7 games in the next 10 days. Tim Stauffer has probably been the best starter for San Diego all year. Faces Mike Pelfrey tomorrow night. Wade LeBlanc on Tuesday against Chris Capuano. Aaron Harang still going strong. 10-win season for a losing team against Ari Dickey Wednesday night. And then Thursday afternoon, Corey Lubke against Jonathan Neese. Padres pitch pretty well. They don't hit much, although the last couple of days have certainly been an aberration. 28 runs the last 2 games, the most the Padres have ever had in a 2-game span, as they've blown out the Pirates a couple of days in a row.
Oh, it's tough to watch the Pirates. They've lost what 9 straight now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they really get into first place, and all of a sudden, for the first time in 18 years, going on 19, never finishing at 500 or better.
Well, that's what I hope happens for them, is they make sure that, they might be out of it as far as chasing some teams in the NL Central, but you hope that they finish over 500 for the first time.
Nick Evans had a base hit through the right side and scored a run in the second. Dylan G on deck. Mets have 5 hits. The Braves have 3. And Evans smacks one to left, but right at Constanza. 2 down. So 2 out and nobody on. There are the standings in the National League Central. Milwaukee leading the pack. 3 games up on the Cardinals, with everybody else kind of fading away now.
Well, the Brewers have been so good at home, but it's hard to judge that they're playing a little better on the road, because they are playing against Houston, which has depleted their team of Michael Bourne, who's here, Hunter Pence, who's in San Francisco playing for Philadelphia.
And you see they've got an early lead again today. Another early home run by Prince Fielder.
Boy, he's having a great year.
He's got 26 now. It came off Bud Norris, who's still a pretty credible pitcher for the Astros. And G's got himself his second hit of the day. Boy, 2 hard hit base hits to left for G, who drove in a run his first time up. He had just 3 hits all year before today.
Same type of hit, a line drive through there. It's not just a bouncer going through the hole. He really has drilled 2 base hits in a row.
So it's a career high 2-hit game for Dylan G. So the Mets have their 6th hit. Now Willie Harris, who came in to hit for Reyes, who left the game in the second inning because of stiffness in his hamstring. And Harris hit a pop fly single to drive in a run, and then stayed in the game at second base. Well, we don't know what's going to happen with Reyes, and whether this hamstring injury is going to keep him out a day, 3 days, a week, a trip to the disabled list.
No matter what. It's just the fact that it happened again to Reyes and takes some of his value away.
You're talking about his value on the free agent market.
On the free agent market. And he's coming up for that after this season.
Harris down looking, and the inning is over. Minor has his second strikeout. We're through 4 at Citi Field. Freeman and Uggla, the hitting streak twins, coming up, tied at 2. Braves tied it on a scratch run in the 4th. And so Dylan G will start fresh in the 5th inning against the heart of the Atlanta batting order, with Freeman, Uggla, and Hayward coming up. Freeman is 0 for 2 today. Started the day with a 20-game hitting streak. He's fly deep to right, and then hit a double play grounder to Nick Evans, who made an accurate throw to second that was drop by Justin Turner for an error. Created a big jam that G was able to work out of in the third. Not so fortunate in the fourth. Freeman's hitting streak is now the second longest ever by a Brave. They have to go back 2 cities to find the longest one. Alvin Dark, as a rookie in 1948, hit in 23 straight games for the Boston Braves.
Boston went to Milwaukee and then moved on down to Atlanta.
And of course, Al Dark went on to a tremendous career as a player and as a manager.
Al Dark was a great football player in college and a very good manager and a wonderful hit and run man, one of the best in the business. Another great one from the past was Billy Herman. And they say that Herman on the hit and run play would wait to see who covered at second, covering the bag there, to hit the ball either through the shortstop or the second baseman.
Is that really possible?
It is. You could wait that long.
And Freeman down on strikes. He struck out his last 3 at bats last night. And G has his 4th strikeout today.
Boy, 3-2, just a fastball away, but up. See that little toe tap? And then doesn't really fall through. Watch the toe tap first, and then just lands it in the same area, doesn't stride. And again, that rolling over in that right ankle, which is what you do when you don't have a stride.
So 1 out now. Ugla, who's 0 for 2, trying to extend his 27-game hitting streak, and he takes ball 1.
Ugla again, another one of those guys, has a toe tap, but Ugla is built, it reminds me a little bit of Ron Say in my day. Short arms, very muscular.
It's a rocket down the left field line, but foul.
And he's one of those guys, Ralph, that is on the dish, middle plate in. That's what he's looking for.
And he has good power right on top of the plate. Let's go to the bat, which I don't like at all. And we have a guy, Murphy, who lets go of the bat a lot. Top hand coming off the bat, you lose a lot of your power.
Call them helicopter guys.
That's right. Mike Easler, the hitman, used to do that in the day.
That was a Charlie Lau theory. And he ruined more hitters than anybody around. He and Reniak were 2 of the worst.
Don't tell George Brett that.
Well, Brett was the guy that made them because they said, well, I work with George Brett, but nobody could make Brett a better hitter. He was a great hitter from the start.
That's like saying in the day, I was the swing instructor for Tiger Woods. I could be a swing instructor for Tiger Woods.
That's right. Ugla in his hitting streak batted .328 up to this ballgame.
Hit sharply, but right at Turner. Ball comes up for him. And he gets Ugla at first, 2 down.
He's going to have one more chance at extending that streak. Unless it's a tie ball game.
Here's your AT&T trivia question for today. Who was the last Braves pitcher to win the Cy Young Award?
Might be here today.
Might be.
My God, there's so many good ones that came out of our organization.
Well, they were winning it every year, weren't they?
I'll say they were.
2 out and nobody on. Now Jason Hayward, who homered for the first Atlanta run, his 12th of the year. That came in the 2nd inning.
Warren Spahn, of course, was a Brave pitcher, and he won 20 games 13 times in his major league career. 13 times.
Well, there's 2 pretty good pitchers. That's to your left, past that bar, is John Smoltz. Boomer Wells in the middle with our friend Brian Anderson.
Smoltz is a cinch to make the Hall of Fame. He's also a really good golfer.
Not right now, he's not. He's got a rotator cuff injury in his left shoulder, of all things.
That's not his pitching arm.
G walks Hayward on 4 pitches. 3rd walk for Dillon, who appeared to want no part of Hayward there. He'll deal instead with Alex Gonzalez. Gonzalez has flied to left and struck out today, 0 for 2. Braves have had just 3 hits off G, but he's hit 2 batters and walked 3, and he's had 2 errors made behind him. Biggest problem for G that he might otherwise be able to control is the fact he's had 2 hits go off his glove.
Yeah. And also that pitch count, Gary, is inching up there for G.
93 pitches with 2 out in the 5th. Hit in the air, deep left field. Back goes Bay, looking up, and it's out of here. Off the facing of the second deck, Alex Gonzalez gives the Braves the lead with a 2-run homer, his 9th of the year. So G pitched carefully to Hayward, and Gonzalez makes him pay.
Well, in between innings, Gary, you and I are talking about Gonzalez, that he's a very interesting hitter in the sense that when he goes up to the plate, he has one thing in mind and one thing only, and that is getting something middle of the plate and trying to pull the baseball. Has tremendous power when he makes contact.
And you saw it right there. That ball is a long way.
Constanza hits one deep to right center. Hairston right at the wall, and that's out of here. Jose Constanza with his first major league home run. He's done everything in this series. Gonzalez and Constanza go back to back, and the Braves lead at 5-2. I'm not sure we knew that Jose Constanza had that kind of power.
Well, here's Gonzalez's home run, Ralph. Just a fastball right down the middle.
And he knows it's gone from the minute he hits that ball, and it's way back in the deep part of the stands. And Constanza also follows with another big home run.
Constanza had never hit more than 2 home runs in any minor league season.
Boy, just a little lazy slider right in the middle of the plate.
And they talk about this being a very tough park for home run hitters.
Well, the Braves have hit 3 of them off Dylan G today, who had allowed just 8 home runs this season. First time in his career he's allowed more than 1, and now he's given up 3. And now J.C. Boscan takes a strike, 2-1. So it's come apart quickly for G. He had 2 out and nobody on in this inning. A 4-pitch walk to Hayward, and then home runs on consecutive pitches by Gonzalez and Constanza as DJ Carrasco gets up. And Boscan has a base hit, his 2nd of the game. So Boscan, who entered play today with 1 career major league hit, now has 3. And Dan Warthen will trudge out to the mound. So much like John Neese yesterday, the one big inning rearing its ugly head against Dylan G.
Yesterday, of course, the Mets covered that with their four home run hitting and won the ball game, and now here again it's gone the other way.
The problem is, Ralph, is you can't really count on yesterday because the Mets, prior to that, the 5-game losing streak, had scored 9 runs total, so they were definitely in a bit of a brownout offensively.
Well, Jose Constanza, a guy who spent a long time in the minor leagues in the Indians organization, never got a chance in the big leagues, and he is taking full advantage of his first 10 days with the Braves. Now Minor grounds one, short hop by right, gets the out at second. That ends the inning, but the Braves grab the lead on back-to-back home runs after a 2-out walk to Hayward. Alex Gonzalez takes G deep, his 9th of the year, and then Costanza, his first big league home run, and it's 5-2. Daniel Murphy show you the difference between the multiple gloves they have for all the positions they play. Plus, get an inside look at Ralph Kiner as he celebrates his 50th year in the booth on Mets Weekly. New episode tonight at 6, only on SNY. You're everywhere these days, Ralph. Let's check in with Kevin on Mike Minor. What's up, Kev?
You know, I talked to Mike yesterday, Gary, and he seemed pretty poised for a young guy, and pretty mature. You know, on top of that, I asked him where he feels like he is right now as a pitcher, and he said, I have a lot to learn, and I know that, but I feel like it's very beneficial for me to be in this organization. And he said, you know, at times you look at it and, you know, you think you're backed up because I played with Mike Leake on the USA team. I played against Drew Storen, and I see them up, and I see the success they're having. But, you know, really, not that I want to be in AAA, but I think there is a benefit from me being in AAA because I think there's a lot that I have to refine yet. And for me, when I get here, I want to stay here. I want to make sure when I'm here ready to go, I am refined and everything is good to go. So, you know, just talking to him, and I understand that sounds like a company line, but I actually got the sense and believed him. You know, I really did. He's a humble kid, pretty mature, and pitching pretty well today, guys.
Not so good for Dylan G. Looking on as Minor strikes out Justin Turner for the first out in the bottom of the 5th. Third strikeout for Minor. So now David Wright will come up with one out.
It's interesting to hear Kevin with that discussion with Minor. Very humble. I will tell you, I was the opposite. Get me out of AAA as quick as you can. I'm going to die here. Somehow, got to get my chance. I'll make the most of it, but I got to get out of AAA.
There's got to be some inspiration too when guys that you've played alongside of get some success in the majors. After all, he was a college teammate of David Price at Vanderbilt. And I think, doesn't that tell you that, you know, you can do it at that level?
Yeah. I didn't have any trouble with AAA.
Yeah.
There wasn't any AAA when I played.
There you go.
AA was the highest classification.
Of course, then you had B, C, and D leagues.
We had B, C, and D, and A1, and I played an E-ball for 2 years. 1 year in AA, which is the highest minor league. That was the International League at Toronto. I played there for about 6 weeks and went in the service in World War II and became a Navy pilot.
So you never.
We still won the war, though.
That's a big victory. It's like 10 World Series all in one.
That's might be higher than the majors when they go into the military, right?
Yeah, the Mets had a very big celebration 2 days ago right here in this ballpark for World War veterans of all the different wars, all the way back to World War II.
Minor has begun the third time around the batting order by striking out 3 in a row.
Getting better. Yeah, going back to that, it was really nice. We had our Mets alumni out there, Tom Seaver and Buddy Harrelson, Ed Craneful, Joe Pignatano, all took part in that with the veterans, and I thought that was a great thing.
Tom Seaver, of course, in the Marine Corps. Gil Hodges in the Marine Corps. Bob Murphy was in the Marine Corps. I was in the Navy. Bud Harrelson did duty in the reserve of some kind, yeah.
Now, Gary, you're talking about Minor playing with so many good players, David Price, Leake, Drew Storen, and others. I will tell you, though, where you really find inspiration is when you're on your AA or AAA teams and pitchers from that staff are going up. That's when you say, you know, I've watched this guy all year. I know him as good, or maybe I'm trending to be a little better. That's what gives you real inspiration to keep working harder to get your shot.
You know, in the old days of minor league baseball, they had a lot of veterans from the major leagues play in the minor leagues. And they, in turn, taught you an awful lot about how to play the game.
You know, when I was in AAA, they called up Rick Ownby, who would be traded for Keith later. They called up Walt Terrell, and it gave you inspiration to work harder. I don't want to go where they're going.
1-2 to Hairston. And he leaves that changeup outside, 2-2.
Walt Terrell was a very good hitting pitcher. Is that where you got the advice?
That's right. You did that game. He had 2 two-run home runs and shut out the Chicago Cubs and Wrigley.
That's right.
Full count to Hairston, who's 0 for 2.
You know, guys, Minor was talking about being around Smoltz and Glavine, you know, various times, and I said, do you pick their brains a little bit? He said, I'm really not worthy of going and asking them the question. I'm hoping they come up to me and say something to me, and then I can have the conversation.
Doesn't work that way.
No.
And Hairston down on strikes. Minor strikes out the side in the 5th inning. He's now fanned 4 in a row. After 5-2 Atlanta. Win the Cy Young. I think it's Smoltz. No,
It's Glavine.
How about that? Smoltz won it in 96, Glavine in 98. Of course, Maddox won 3 in a row as a Brave, 93, 94, 95. Glavine won a pair, 91 and 98.
They really had the monopoly on that award, didn't they?
DJ Carrasco on to pitch in the 6th inning. Top of the batting order, Michael Bourne, and he takes a breaking ball for a strike. Now, Warren Spahn won the Cy Young, but he won it back when there was only one Cy Young award. They didn't give out one for each league. That was in 1957.
Wow.
And of course, Marshall was a guy that never won the Cy Young Award.
He had the misfortune to pitch at the same time as Koufax.
Yeah.
And that's when Koufax was winning every year.
I remember, I think back in the one Cy Young Award days, didn't Dean Chance win it? 65
I think
maybe?
did in the American League, yeah.
65 or 60, yeah, 60,
Somewhere in there.
67? No.
I think 67 was the last year there was one award, or maybe it's the first year there was two. Because they only introduced the Cy Young, I think, in 56. I don't think there was a Cy Young before that.
Well, the Rookie of the Year award started in 1947.
Jeez.
And the winner was a pretty good guy,
Look at those numbers.
Jackie Robinson.
Well, those three guys form the core of a team that won 14 straight National League East titles. Give you a chance to win every day. Michael Bourne grounds a base hit, and he's aboard. So the Braves have the leadoff man on in the 6th. Let's check in with Chris Carlin. He's standing by with the New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Looked like Prince hit that one without jumping off the ground.
Sunday day game, you know.
He's conserving his energy.
That's right.
There's Martin Prado 0 for 2, and he's been hit by a pitch, sort of. Ball that hit the knob of his bat, it turned out, but was called a hit by pitch.
Gary Fielder making a late run, huh, to get in that MVP hunt, or he's right in the middle of that MVP hunt.
Well, he's also enhancing his value relative to his fellow free agent first baseman, Mr. Pujols.
And we were talking about Reyes before, who you didn't know left the game with a stiff left hamstring. Fielder plays every single day of every single game.
Aren't you supposed to?
Yeah, well.
You know, guys, I just wanted to pick your brain on this and see what you thought. I know there's a lot of time left in the season, and the Mets have an MVP hopeful on their squad with Reyes. Do you think Ryan Braun and Prince Fielder can win co-MVP this year? I mean, they have both been ridiculous, and the Brewers are playing great.
How could you put those two together? I don't. The value of Fielder is a lot more than stealing bases.
With the home runs and the timely hits, and
I mean, this guy is a tremendous hitter, and he's a power hitter. Drives in runs, and the other is a good hitter, but certainly doesn't scare you to death when he comes up there.
I don't know. I think Ryan Braun's pretty good, Ralph. But I think, you know, what's interesting about Kevin bringing that up, Kev, we're going to have to talk to Keith because he knows a little bit about being a co-MVP, right?
No
He
doubt.
and Sargent were co-ed.
Well, of course, what also can happen, and this is what happened with the Mets in '88, when you have two players from one team who are candidates, they can split the vote and get beat out. Mets had McReynolds and Strawberry, both candidates in '88, and they got beat up by Kirk Gibson.
I mean, just looking at those two guys, how do you say which one is more valuable to their team right now?
I don't think there's any doubt about it that when you get right down the Fielder being the most valuable to his team.
So you have a preference for the power hitter.
The game is power. I don't care how you look at it. You can put whatever you want and get infield hits.
And Carrasco throws it away. Second errant pickoff toss for the Mets today. Both have been with Bourne on base. The first one, Evans mishandled for an error. This one will be an error on Carrasco. The Mets' third error of the game.
Well, Carrasco trying to be a little quick. This one is not even close, Ralph. No chance for Evans.
Yeah, he could never reach through that ball with the runner coming back into him.
So runner in scoring position with nobody out. A 1-2 count to Prado. Tap to the right side. So Prado with a productive out gets Bourne over to third.
You know, taking that, which is more valuable? If you take Babe Ruth and you take Ty Cobb.
Okay.
Now you got it. That's really a very tough question to argue either way. Babe Ruth, of course, changed the game with the power and home runs. Ty Cobb always hated Babe Ruth because of that. He changed the game because the game was speed and stolen bases.
So you're saying the argument could be made on both sides of how valuable they were.
To me, that would be a real good debate right there.
Prado playing some winning baseball as the Mets infield in.
Freeman 0 for 3, so the infield in enhances his chances of extending his hitting streak. 20 games and trying to get to 21.
Getting back to Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb held the record for stolen bases at 96 for years.
Maury Wills came along and broke it.
Maury Wills had, what, 105?
108, I thought.
Somewhere in there. And, of course, that was broken by Lou Brock. It was broken by several people.
First Lou Brock and then Ricky Henderson obliterated it with 130. In tight. I think Brock at 118. Wills, I think, at 104.
104?
Yeah,
that's the number.
You know, Lou Brock hit a home run in the Polo Grounds, which is really hard to do because of the he hit it over the right center field fence, 445 feet away.
2-2 now to Freeman. Ralph, I wanted to ask you, we were talking about MVP debate. You know, you were a great player who played for a lot of second division teams. Would you consider a guy like Matt Kemp, who's having a great year for a bad team?
Well, you certainly have to consider him now. Ernie Banks and also Hank Sauer were with bad ball clubs and he won the MVP.
Of course, more recently, Andre Dawson won the MVP for a last place team, and Alex Rodriguez won the MVP for a losing team.
And people would say, how can he be the most valuable player when your team didn't win?
Well, maybe they would have been a whole lot worse without you.
How could he finish worse and worse?
Well, that's it's the opposite of the Branch Rickey argument.
Yeah, I could finish last without you.
3-2 to Freeman with Ugla on deck. And he walked him, so Carrasco got a head on Freeman, couldn't put him away, and now runners at the corners for Ugla.
And this might be Ugla's last chance to extend his hitting streak right here. He's 0 for 3, a fly ball and 2 ground outs.
No, that was the proper pitching by Carrasco there. He had to make a 3-2 attempt to try to throw the backdoor curveball. None worse for wear. Walked Freeman. Has a chance with the hot Ugla of trying to get him to hit into a double play.
So the infield can drop back. Bourne at third, Freeman at first with 1 out. Mets already down 3 runs in the 6th. And Ugla lays off, ball 1. Dylan G went 5 innings, allowed 5 runs and 6 hits. The second straight day of Mets starters giving up 5 runs in 5 innings. 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 hit batsmen, a wild pitch, and 3 home runs. A stat sheet filler.
I've seen more hanging breaking balls missed in today's game. Little hanging slider here from Carrasco. A little late by Ugla.
Yesterday, Counsell got a base hit. He had been 0 for 45, and record is 0 for 46 by Bill Bergen.
Popped up. Harris, the second baseman, calling. And there are 2 out. So Ugla not only doesn't extend his hitting streak, he fails to get the run in from third. Now there are 2 out in the inning. So he'll get one more crack at it, at least. Here's Jason Hayward, who's been on base 3 times in a row. Home run, hit by a pitch, and a walk. He scored 2 runs. By the way, Dean Chance, Cy Young, 1964.
Okay.
And 67 was the first year they awarded 2 Cy Youngs. Hit hard, but right at the second baseman, and so Carrasco gets into trouble and finds his way out. Nicely done by Carrasco to keep it a 3-run game. Available in HD, presented by IOTV, and you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. The Padres are in town for 4 starting tomorrow night. Then the Mets hit the road, go to Arizona and San Diego before coming back.
It's pretty funny. I haven't seen the PPD rain before.
For more on the Padres coming in, let's check in with Kevin, who's live from the Acela Club.
It's hard to believe that the Padres, this same Padres squad, well, it's a little different actually, but this organization, took the Giants down to the wire last year and obviously traded away Adrian Gonzalez in the offseason. It's been such a different deal this year. They're 50-64. Even though they've busted out the last couple of days against Pittsburgh, they haven't hit a lick. And I think the thing about them organization-wise right now is, I talked to Jenny Kavanaugh, who's my counterpart out there, and she said, really the question is, what exactly is the future? It's one thing for a small market team to trade away guys they can't afford, but also have a direction or at least some couple of young guys who you really believe in. The problem is the Padres' young guys are at a point where they haven't produced at all, and now the Padres have to make some decisions as Bay bats here. A couple of examples. 27-year-old Chase Headley. He's batting .292, the third baseman. He's got just 4 home runs. Will Venable, 28-year-old outfielder, spent time in AAA, was demoted a part of this year. Their catcher, Nick Hundley, batting just .222. He's been hurt a lot of the year as well. And they brought up 21-year-old Anthony Rizzo, who they hope is the replacement for Gonzalez at first. And Rizzo batted .143 in the 35 games he was up. So the Padres not only aren't spending any money, they don't really have anybody in sight that could be a star in the future for that team. Bay walks. Back to you, fellas.
Bay on base for the 3rd straight time. The guy who's actually hit best recently for San Diego has been a minor league journeyman, Jesus Guzman, who's been playing some first base. There's the West standings. The Padres at the bottom, 14 games under 500. I mean, they still have that outstanding bullpen, although not as strong now with the trade of Mike Adams to Texas.
Gregerson has been good. Of course, Heath Bell is there. Blanks, their big power hitter, has not been able to stay on the field.
Hit a grand slam yesterday, which is a nice sign for him. But he had Tommy John surgery.
Yes, he did.
Angel Pagan's been up twice, flied out to left field both times. So the Mets getting a leadoff base runner for only the 2nd time in 6 innings, trying to build off that. Bay with a single and 2 walks today. And Pagan gets another ball in the air, shallow to center field. And Bourne comes in and grabs it 1 out. So after a good day yesterday, Pagan just hitting routine fly balls today. 1 out and 1 on. Christian Martinez, who came in to get a couple of outs last night, is up in the Atlanta bullpen. You don't want to get to the 7th inning with the Braves leading. That is a very difficult proposition for any team, with the trio of O'Flaherty, Venters, and Kimbrel working those last 3 innings. Ronnie Polino 0 for 2, couple of fly balls, and he hits another one in the air. This one toward the gap in right center, but Hayward comes over and grabs it. And Bay was all the way to second base, has to find his way back.
There's a ball he hit on the good part of the bat and didn't go anywhere. You can't blame that on the fences.
What cost him here? You see that ball has that spin going from left to right. As that got in the air, that ball looked like it was going to be in the gap, and it peeled right back to Hayward.
One of the most important things as a home run hitter is the wind. And with the wind, you're much better off than you are without the wind or against the wind. And it can make a difference of 30 or 40 feet. And that's why Wrigley Field is such a strange place. With the wind blowing in, it's very difficult for home runs. With it blowing out, fly balls are home runs.
Nick Evans is 1 for 2 today. Hit a very soft ground ball that found a hole on the right side for a hit, and then hit a bullet to left that was caught.
When I was playing in Pittsburgh, you could smell the sulfur from the steel mills, and I would, when I smelled the sulfur, the wind was blowing out. When I didn't smell it, the wind was blowing in.
Another liner to left for Evans. This one will fall in front of Constanza and bounce behind him. Day heads to third. He'll be held up there, and Evans into second base. Well, Constanza, for all his speed, has looked very shaky approaching some balls, and this time it cost him.
Well, this ball a little off the end of the bat. He misjudged it, tried to stop in time. That one you can't field with your glove. You need to jump your body in front of that baseball, let it hit you in the chest. but it just glanced off Jose.
Yeah, it was a old hand that right there is a bullfighter, but you got to get in front of that ball and make it bounce down in front of you.
So it's a base hit for Evans, an error on Constanza, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate, and Daniel Murphy up to pinch hit. And that brings Freddie Gonzalez out of the dugout, and he is going to make a pitching change. Eric O'Flaherty just started throwing alongside Martinez, and it's O'Flaherty, the left-hander, I'm certain, will be brought in to face Murphy. So Minor will be out of there after 5 2/3. He will leave with a chance to be a winning pitcher, and Eric O'Flaherty will come on for Atlanta. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Chipper Jones in as well. We'll be right back. Eric O'Flaherty pitching, Daniel Murphy pinch hitting, second and third, 2 out, Mets down 3, and Murphy slashes 1 foul, 0-1. Chipper Jones in to play third base, he'll bat 9th. Martin Prado moves from third base to left field, and Jose Constanza moved from left field to right field. Pitcher goes in Jason Hayward's spot, number 5 in the order.
Folks at home, this is not a misprint. At 0.89 is his ERA. Has not allowed an earned run in his last 26 appearances.
Little dribbler, it'll stay fair along the grass, and a run scores. A cue shot from Murphy for an infield hit, and it's 5-3. That's when you're hot.
5-3, and on this cue shot, a time run at first base in this ball game. No chance at all to get a play anywhere. And the run comes across, and the Mets can get back in this game.
I saw Murphy do the claw when he got to first base. You were allowed to do a claw on that hit.
I'm not sure that was claw worthy. So now Willie Harris up for the third time. Harris took over when Reyes had to leave the game with stiffness in his hamstring. First and third and 2 down, tying runs on base, and O'Flaherty gets the slider over for a strike.
Well, the whole thing, Jose Reyes would be the hitter right here, and of course Reyes has got all the stats you want to do what you need to do here to get back in this ball game.
And if you're wondering about Harris facing the lefty as he punches 1 foul, the Mets do not have a right-handed bat on their bench today. Terry Collins opted to start every available right-handed bat against Mike Minor, leaving himself with an exclusively left-handed bench. Harris 0 for 2 in his career against O'Flaherty. Had a pop fly single to drive in a run when he pinch hit in the second, took a call third strike in the fourth. Now the 0-2 by O'Flaherty, and it's fouled away. By the way, speaking of Reyes, he is going to have an MRI later today at the hospital for special surgery, so they are wasting no time checking out the latest hamstring woes that have bedeviled Jose Reyes.
Well, Flaherty has such a wicked breaking ball. Probably going to see it here against Harris. If you're Nick Evans on third base, be alive if it scoots away from Boscan.
And Boscan blocks it. 1-2. The last time Eric O'Flaherty gave up an earned run 2 months ago today, June the 7th. He and Venters and Kimbrel have been practically perfect for the better part of 2 months. That's how you win games. Here's the 1-2.
And Harris floats one down the right field line. Foul.
Almost got fortunate there.
Boy, a game of inches right there, and that ball would have put the Mets maybe in front or this side.
Instead, it's an easy play for the ball boy.
We have the best ball boys in the business. Make every play. That away, Anthony.
Someday he might grow up to be a ball dude.
Oh, jeez. Anything but that.
Evans at third, Murphy at first, and Harris hits it on the ground through the hole, base hit. Evans is in, Murphy to third, Willie Harris with an RBI single, and the Mets are down by 1. So Harris finds a hole, and the Mets have played to the pair with 2 out.
Nice job by Willie Harris. That tough breaking ball, he fouls off, gets a fastball, and scoots it past Freddie Freeman.
So now it's 5-4. O'Flaherty before today had inherited 22 base runners and allowed only 5 to score. He's allowed 2 inherited runners to score here. And now the Mets have the tying run at third, and Justin Turner the batter. Murphy now at third, Harris at first with 2 down. O'Flaherty has given up a couple of soft hits. Now he'll face Turner, who's 1 for 3, singled back in the first. And he takes a strike.
Got a good fastball to hit there. The outfield is very shallow.
Eddie Acosta.
You wonder why they're playing quite that shallow. This ball game is not over.
And playing shallow against a guy who went deep twice yesterday. Those home runs are not a huge part of Justin Turner's game, but he showed off his strength yesterday.
He is a big, strong kid. He should hit more home runs than he does.
2 balls and a strike. You got David Wright standing on deck. David, who, when he is right, eats lefties for lunch.
Second baseman is over towards second.
Little flare to right, Constanza in to grab it, and that retires the side. Well, the Mets get closer with a couple of runs. Hey, Ralph, great to have you here. We'll see you again soon.
All right, Gary, good to be with you, and also to Ron. Let's see you pull this one out.
You don't have to do that to your chin when you're doing a game with Gary. Come on, take it easy.
Wise Snacks Ultimate Fan Experience Sweepstakes. You could win a chance to throw out the first pitch at Citi Field. Enter at sny.tv/wise. By Bob's Discount Furniture, proud to be the furniture store of the New York Mets. And by Verizon, America's largest and most reliable wireless network. Daniel Murphy, who had a pinch hit single, stays in the game at second base. And Manny Acosta, who has been pitching very well lately, will come on to pitch in the 7th inning, with the Mets now down by just 1 run.
Yeah, he gave up a run in yesterday's game, but he's had 5 punch-outs in his last 5 appearances.
Gave up the leadoff home run to Ugla in the 9th inning when he came in with a 5-run lead. Got the next 3 hitters out. Alex Gonzalez leads off in the 7th inning. Gonzalez and Constanza hit back-to-back home runs off Dylan G in the 5th to put the Braves in front. This time Gonzalez fouls the first one back. G went 5 innings, allowed 5 runs and 6 hits. DJ Carrasco got into big-time trouble in the 6th, but worked around it. Gave up a hit and a walk, committed a throwing error, but retired Ugla and Hayward with a runner at third. And the Mets then scratched out a couple in the bottom of the inning to get closer. Ball and a strike to Gonzalez. It's been a renaissance for Manny Acosta over the last couple of weeks. He's been much sharper with his breaking ball as much as anything else.
Breaking ball, and also that second pitch to Gonzalez was a changeup to the right-hander, something that he had not featured when he first came back up.
Acosta, who began his career with the Braves. And Gonzalez lifts one to center field. And Pagan barely has to move. 1 away. So 1 out now. Constanza, who hit his first major league home run into the bullpen in right center in the 5th inning. 2 for 3 today. 5 for 11 in the series with a triple, a homer, and 3 RBIs.
Well, you want that ball just the middle of the plate, trying to get a first pitch strike. Constanza was waiting.
Mets need for Constanza to start to do the opposite.
That's right. Alter World, what was it called? The Alter George. A little surprising, as we've seen Constanza play this entire series of small ball, is that he can have enough pop, and boy, he's made his presence in this lineup.
No silent treatment. Guy hits his first big league home run.
That's right. They were so shocked they couldn't pull it off.
Never hit more than 2 home runs in a minor league season. And now at age 27, nearly 28, getting a chance and taking advantage. And now he walks on 4 pitches. Not a good idea by Acosta. Mets have now issued 5 walks this afternoon. And so Constanza is aboard. And J.C. Boscan is coming up. Don't forget, Chipper Jones is sitting behind Boscan in the number 9 hole. So that certainly affects how this inning plays out.
Terry Collins and his staff are going to have to be on top of this here, even though he hasn't stolen a base. I see Constanza stealing early in the count here with Boscan up.
As much as anything else for Freddie Gonzalez to take away the double play possibility. Because you want to get Chipper to the plate somehow or other if you're Freddie. Constanza has attempted 1 steal since coming up and was caught. He was able to advance on a short wild pitch in the 4th inning that ended up producing a run when he came home from third on a fielder's choice. He has used his legs in every appropriate manner in this series. And Boscan takes it low for ball 1. By the way, Murphy going in to play second base. It's only the 2nd time since May the 10th that Murph has played second.
Wow.
Played there a lot early in the year when the Mets were trying to figure that position out. But once Ike Davis got hurt, Murphy's primary position became first and then played third when Wright was out. There goes Constanza. The throw by Polino, and he's safe. And Murph got spiked. And he is down. Constanza comes up hobbling as well.
Well, he came in with a very, very late slide.
And Murph, who had his knee injured trying to turn a double play in Buffalo last year, holding that left knee.
Well, you see Murph has that knee behind the bag, but Constanza went right through the bag and got Murph on the other side. See the late slide goes through the bag and then the spike right on the outside of his knee. It might not be a spike as much as the hitting the outside part of that left knee.
Right.
That's the dangerous part.
A terrible slide by Constanza for his first career stolen base. And he might have taken himself and Murph out.
Yeah, no, that is a hit him right on that outside of the knee that pushes that knee into the other knee, and just tragic to see that.
Well, it's terrible for Murphy, who suffered a knee injury last year. And you see him getting that knee down, and Constanza coming up with a spike, and that's not good. Now, the Mets have another question here. Who's going to play second base? They've lost Reyes in this game because of injury. They lost Harris because they decided to make the switch and keep Murphy in the game. I would imagine Scott Hairston's going to have to play second base. He's got a little bit of experience playing there, but right now the concern for Murphy, that did not look good.
That's just awful. Murph, you got to be, are you kidding me?
He had just gone in to play second base. He had played there on July the 17th, but that was the only time he had played there since the 10th of May. And on the very first play that involves him, he gets taken out on a bad slide. Constanza is able to stay in the game, but Murphy is out. Hairston will move to second base, and Lucas Duda will take over in right field. So an awfully painful afternoon for Terry Collins and the Mets.
Well, that'll get your manager pacing. How can it not, as Scott takes some ground balls to get loose?
Hairston has played 86 career games at second base, so he's got experience there. First came up with Arizona primarily as an infielder.
Try to channel his inner brother here.
That's true. His brother Jerry, a guy who can play virtually every position. The last time Hairston played second base was in 2008. So he'll go out there and do his best. The Mets' fourth different second baseman in this game. Turner started there, had to move over to short when Reyes got hurt. Reyes is heading for an MRI on his hamstring. Then Harris took over. Harris double switched out of the game. Murphy staying in, and Murphy now out injured as well. 2-0 the count to Boscan. Costanza is okay. He stays in the game at second base. Boscan is 2 for 3, and he takes a strike from Acosta. 2-1. The bulk of Hairston's second base play came in 2004. He was in 85 games that year. Played one game at second in 2008, so one game in the last 7 years he's played at that position. And that was only for 2 innings. Fouled off by Boscan. That's 2-2.
Now, with the inexperience, as you mentioned, of Hairston at second base, due to getting some sunglasses, went out there without them, borrowing some from someone in the bullpen. With the inexperience, Hairston's just kind of giving a feint to keep the runner close at second base. Constanza not being held on. If he wasn't a rookie, I'd say prime time to steal third.
He might anyway. 2-2 to Boscan, and the breaking ball fouled off. Remember, Chipper Jones is standing on deck. Mets battled back with a couple of runs in the bottom of the 6th to get within 1. But this building has a rather somber feel right now. The Met fans have seen Jose Reyes leave the game because of further hamstring problems, and now Murphy leaving the game with an apparent knee injury. So there's not a whole lot of happiness right now in this building. Acosta trying to put away Boscad. And he gets him with a breaking ball. So there's the second out for Acosta, his first strikeout. Now they can walk Chipper Jones intentionally if they want and go after Bourne. I'm not sure if you do that right now, though. What do you think?
I would walk Chipper Jones. Absolutely. I know that he's not the Chipper Jones you've seen in the past, but he is a run producer. He does it against the Mets, and I just don't like the matchup Acosta against Chipper. Terry likes it better than I do.
They're going to go after him. Chipper was 1 for 4 last night and drove in a run in his first start in a couple of weeks. And Acosta misses with the changeup, ball 1.
You know, when you're in this situation, you have a pitcher saying to himself, well, I'll go after him with breaking pitches, even if I'm behind in the count. Well, the problem is Chipper Jones knows that too. And he might sit on a breaking pitch.
Chipper has never faced Acosta before in a regular season game, but he was his teammate for a few years, so he certainly knows what Manny's all about. Michael Bourne on deck. And I'm very surprised now on 2-0 that they're not just giving him 3 and 4. Chipper with 47 career home runs against the Mets. And he pops it up. So Acosta wins that battle. Justin Turner puts it away, and the inning is over. A walk, an injury, 1 left. 7th inning stretch, 5-4 Atlanta. Broadcast team, you and a guest could have dinner with us, then catch the game in an SNY suite at Citi Field on Thursday, September 1st. Plus, you'll be featured in a segment on Mets Weekly. All proceeds benefit the high school basketball teams scheduled to play in the 2012 SNY Invitational. Just go to sny.tv/charity auction and bid today. We go to the bottom of the 7th at Citi Field. A pall cast across this ballpark this afternoon. Jose Reyes left the game in the 2nd inning with stiffness in his hamstring. He's been taken to hospital for special surgery. He'll have an MRI later today. Daniel Murphy taken out on a play at second base. on a steal by Jose Constanza. Got spiked on the outside of his knee and had to be helped off the field with an apparent knee injury. It's not the same knee that he hurt last year when he got taken out on a dirty slide in Buffalo on a double play. That was his right knee. This is his left knee. And you have to be very concerned about Murph. Certainly we don't know the extent of the injury, but a guy who has, you know, gone from an afterthought when the year began to being a primetime performer for the Mets this year.
And it's not only that. I don't think anyone realizes how much work he's put in to come back from injuries, how diligent he's been about that, and you know, have something like that, like this, happen to him in a season where he's having his best offensive season. It's just a shame.
So the fans are up and stretching, and I guess the best way that the Mets can show their resilience today, as they have shown all year, through injury after injury and losing streak after losing streak and offensive drought and all sorts of things that have befallen them this year, is to try and come back and win a very important game today. We'll have David Wright, Scott Hairston, and Jason Bay coming up in the bottom of the seventh. Yesterday, the Mets came from 3 runs down to win. It was the first time this year that the Braves had lost a game in which they had a 3-run lead. In fact, they had won 51 consecutive games dating back to September of last year in which they had a 3-run lead. Well, they had a 3-run lead today, the Braves did. But now it's 5-4 after O'Flaherty gave up a couple of soft hits that allowed 2 inherited runners to score in the 6th. But he and Venters and Kimbrel have not allowed a single earned run since the 1st of July. That's amazing. Wright leads off and fouls the first pitch back. David, when he is right, is a killer of left-handed pitching. This year hitting just .263 against lefties coming in, and 0 for 3 today against Mike Minor with a couple of strikeouts. O'Flaherty being asked to go an inning and a third after facing 3 batters in the 6th.
When you're trying to beat a vaunted bullpen like Atlanta has, your best players have to come up big. None better than White leading off, Hairston, who murders left-handers next, and then Jason Bay, as hot as any Met.
O'Flaherty working in back of Minor, who went 5 2/3, allowed 4 runs, 7 hits, walked 2, struck out 5. 1-2 to David, and he goes down swinging for the 3rd time today. So 1 out of the home 7th.
Well, fastball's supposed to be in. It's up and away, so O'Flaherty misses his spot and gets away with it. Gary, where do you put this trio of the Atlanta Braves? Not only what they've done, but their age.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you go back to the Nasty Boys with the Reds in 1990 and the few years after that with Randy Myers and
Rob Dibble
and Norm Charlton. But, you know, those guys were, for the most part, veteran pitchers at that point.
In fact, Dibble might have been the youngest of that trio, I believe.
But with Venters, a second-year player, and Kimbrel, a rookie, and O'Flaherty, who has a couple of years in. Good change-up there, and it's 0-2. And, yeah, it's hard to think of a group that young, although, you know, you go back to the Reds group that they had in the 70s with Raleigh Eastwick and Will McEnany. They were young pitchers.
You see most relievers at the end of bullpens. They might have 1 young guy, but not 3. And I think if you watch the Atlanta Braves relievers, which is different than most relievers in this game, they all work quickly. They all throw strikes. That's the opposite of what you see guys coming in from the pen.
Off the fists, and Ugla goes back into shallow center and puts it away, 2 out.
Now you watch some bullpens, and it's so painstaking to see how much time they need to get themselves kind of prepared to make the next pitch. This trio of Atlanta seems to pitch like starters do. Get the ball, throw it, throw strikes, change speeds.
Wasn't that at the end of the day just a matter of confidence?
Yeah, exactly. They're on the greatest run. That guy right there, Roger McDowell, had some great runs himself.
Jason Bay's been on base 3 times in a row, a single and 2 walks today. Now has a 9-game hitting streak going. He has scored 2 of the 4 Met runs. Angel Pagan would be next. And Bay lines one the other way, and he's on base for the 4th straight time. So Jason Bay with a 2-out single, and the Mets have the tying run aboard. Jason Isringhausen has the weighted ball. Doesn't even need a throwing partner.
He's going to wear a hole in that cement at some point this season.
Well, you know, it's kind of like Andy Dufresne in Shawshank Redemption. You dig for long enough, you tunnel your way out. Pagan is 0 for 3, 3 fly ball outs. All of his at-bats today have come as a right-hand batter. He has not hit a home run right-handed this year. All 4 of his home runs have come from the left side. But it has seemed as though he's been trying to go deep today. Tim Burdack up in the Mets bullpen. Little dribbler, and that'll go foul. Not as fortunate as Murphy in the last inning, although Murphy certainly had more misfortune than fortune in the last inning. Bobby Parnell up as well in the Mets bullpen. Ronnie Paulino on deck. O'Flaherty's given up 3 hits in an inning plus. There goes Bay, and no throw. Boscan didn't even come out of his squad as Bay steals his 10th base of the year.
You know, we talked about yesterday's ball game in the open, Gary, talking about their power and 4 home runs. I thought I was equally impressed that they had 4 stolen bases yesterday, and another one here by Bay in a big situation to get in scoring position.
1-2 to Pagan, and he laces one to left, falling fast. On comes Prado, and it gets behind him, and the Mets tie the game. Bay scores. Pagan to second. It's 5-5. Martin Prado trying to pick off that sinking liner, not up to the task, and the Mets have come from 3 runs down to get even.
Well, Prado started at third base today, went to the outfield, definitely does not have the speed of Jose Constanza, who would have that in his back pocket. It eludes him, and you know, it's hard to say, even starting at first base, if Jason Bay definitely scores on this. Probably yes, but nice backup by Michael Bourne.
It's a double for Pagan, and so Eric O'Flaherty gives up an earned run for the first time in exactly 2 months, and the Mets get even. Now, those 3 primary relievers for the Braves have been so perfect for so long. It was inevitable that something would happen to crack them. Here it's a 2-out hit by Bay, a stolen base, and a sinking liner by Pagan that eludes Prado for a double. Now the go-ahead run at second base, and Ronnie Paulino the batter. Paulino has hit 3 fly balls today. He won't get a chance to hit one here. He'll be intentionally walked, and they'll go after Nick Evans instead. Evans had a much better day swinging the bat than Paulino has, which makes this notion a little curious.
I guess they're going after the younger player. Don't forget that Freddie Gonzalez managed Ronnie Paulino, probably knows what he can do in these RBI situations. Going to take a chance on Evans.
Now they've got Christian Martinez up in the bullpen, so it would probably hold that they would bring Martinez in to face Evans here. Let's see if that's what Freddie had in mind.
I think he's going to stay with a reliever that's been so hot, no O'Flaherty, even though he's given up the run. Yes, he is.
Evans is 2 for 3 today, and the one time he was retired, it was on a hard liner to left, and he has a base hit in his only career at bat against O'Flaherty. So 2 out and 2 on, 5-5 bottom of the 7th. And Evans takes off the plate for ball 1.
And we don't know the injury, the extent of the injury to Murphy. Here's a chance for Nick Evans to come up big and come up clutch.
2-0. Lucas Duda is hitting in the 9 hole. He's on deck. Well, Flaherty's given up 4 hits in an inning plus. Mets need 1 more hit to take the lead. There's a strike, 2-1. When the Mets have been at their hottest, they have specialized in 2-out runs. And all the Met runs today have come with 2 out. 3-1.
Good eye by Nick there. He's got to know the 2-0 count. He got a fastball, middle of the plate in.
George Sherrill, the left-hander, has struggled so mightily last night up alongside Martinez in the bullpen. Now it's 3-1 to Nick Evans. And he hits one down the right field side foul. 3-2. Pagan and Polino, the base runners. They'll both be in motion now with 3-2 and 2 out. A rare rough outing for Eric O'Flaherty. He gave up a couple of soft hits in the 6th and a couple of 2-out hits here in the 7th. Now the 3-2. And it's low ball. No, it's strike 3 call. Evans thought he had ball 4. Tony Randazzo punches him out. And the inning is over. And Terry Collins incredulous. The Mets get even. Day with a 2-out hit. Steals a base. And then Angel Pagan comes through with a sinking liner. Martin Prado not up to the test. And the double ties the game at 5. Tooled their defensive alignment. Lucas Duda moves from right field to first base. Justin Turner moves from shortstop back to second. David Wright, for the first time in his major league career, will play at shortstop. And Nick Evans moves from first base to third. Scott Hairston moves from second base back out to right field.
So Wright has never played shortstop in the big leagues. Evans has played third base this season.
And Tim Burdack takes over the pitching as we go to the 8th inning in a 5-5 game.
Burdack's only allowed 3 runs in his last 28 games. He has had a great second half so far.
If you are just tuning in, the reason for all the defensive machinations is that the Mets have lost both Jose Reyes and Daniel Murphy to injury as this game has progressed. Johnny Venter's up in the Atlanta bullpen. Reyes left in the second inning with stiffness in his hamstring. As it's lined and caught by Duda. Well, that worked. Bourne retired one hard out.
Well, what a move. You had to move someone 6'4" over there with the reach. Makes the play on that line drive. Nice cat-like reactions from Lucas.
So 1 out, nobody on. Now Martin Prado. Murphy left the game in the 7th inning after absorbing a hard slide by Jose Constanza. Got spiked on the outside of the knee, which appeared to create more than just a spike wound as he was helped off the field. And we have not gotten any medical report on Murph as of yet. But with all of that, Turner played shortstop for a while, and now Wright is playing shortstop for the first time ever. 2 balls and no strikes to Prado. Well, we've talked about the possibility of Wright moving over to short in an emergency before, but this is the first time it's actually happened. Now he can tell his buddy Ryan Zimmerman that he's done it.
That's right.
Zim did it when he first came to the major league.
Yes, they tried him there right away. It didn't work out.
Wright also never played shortstop in the minor leagues, although he did in high school back in Virginia. Two and one to Prado with Freddie Freeman on deck. Yeah, that misses high. Let's check in with Kevin.
Funny you mentioned that about playing shortstop at Hickory High School. I went down to visit David at his high school in the offseason, Gary. Looking at some old pictures of his, he said, man, I have been dying to get into a game at shortstop at the major league level. I love playing shortstop, love kind of quarterback in the infield. Said he almost had a chance a couple years ago in Boston when the Mets had all those injuries. Mets called up Ramon Martinez. He didn't get the shot, so I'm sure he's not relishing the fact that Jose's hurt, but somewhere deep inside he's probably enjoying this.
And Tim Burdack not relishing the fact that he just walked Martin Prado in front of Freddie Freeman.
We see David Wright motioning, sorry Gary, for double play depth, try to get 2 here. He was playing sort of at double play depth even when no one was on base.
And you wonder whether that's in deference, you know, to not having a shortstop's arm.
Yeah, and it makes it the ball get up on you a little quicker like it does at third base.
So here's Freeman, who has a 20-game hitting streak, perhaps on the line here in the 8th inning. He's 0 for 3 and a walk. Ugla also is hitless today, and he's on deck. And there's a lot of motioning going on right now. Mookie with the outfielders and Chip Hale with the infielders. Well, let's see. The Mets at second base today have gone from Turner to Harris to Murphy to Hairston and back to Turner. Bobby Parnell getting ready in the bullpen. At shortstop, they've gone from Reyes to Turner to Wright. Freeman fouls it off. Now they've got Duda playing first base, Turner at second, Wright at short, and Evans at third. Before you know it, maybe Jesse Roscoe will be playing right field.
That's right. Well, you got Roger here. He can alternate at least.
He was the other part of that duo in Cincinnati back in '86. Outside, a ball and 2 strikes to Freeman. That one was necessitated by the fight.
That's right.
Where Ray Knight got ejected. Darryl Strawberry also had been ejected in that game. And so Gary Carter wound up playing third base. And McDowell and Orozco alternating between the mound and the outfield. Here's the 1-2, and Freeman lays off the slider. He's not swinging at any bad pitches right now.
No. And you can envision at some point, you know, if they had an emergency infielder, Josh Tolley maybe playing third base like Carter did so many years ago.
Let's still have Tolley and Pridey left on the bench. Burdack struck out Freeman in yesterday's game. Burdack was very impressive last night. Got the side in order, struck out a pair, both left-hand batters, Bourne and Freeman. Now he's 2-2 to Freddie Freeman. And he pops it up in foul ground. Evans coming over, but that's in the crowd. Well, the Mets got Dylan Gee off the hook with 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th. He went 5 innings, allowed 5 runs, 6 hits. DJ Carrasco gave up a hit and a walk in the 6th, but worked out of trouble. Manny Acosta worked around a walk in the 7th. And now Burdick trying to hold the fort in the 8th. This is Terry Collins and Ken Oberfeld trying to figure out what to do next. 2-2. Tied him up. Did he go? No swing. Dan Bellino, the rookie umpire at third base. And now it's 3-2 to Freeman with Uggla to follow. So do you send Prado here with 3-2 and 1 out?
Yes,
Freeman has been striking out a lot.
Absolutely.
Not going, and it's in for a call. Strike 3. Got him looking at the slider. Freeman down on strikes, 2 away.
Well, good slider there over the middle of the plate, taken by Freeman, and I will take that back. I was wrong to say that you should run Prado there because Uggla's your hottest hitter, and he's up next.
Now Terry Collins going to make a move here. With Uggla coming up, he's got Parnell ready in the bullpen. So Burdick gets a couple of outs. He'll leave with a runner on base in a 5-5 game in the 8th. We'll be right back. Hit first. Bobby Parnell goes into the 7th spot, and he will try and get Dan Uggla out in a big spot.
Well, pitched in last night's ball game, just a walk and a strikeout, and a scoreless inning.
Uggla 0 for 4 today, has a 27-game hitting streak perhaps on the line. Tie game, 8th inning, and Parnell misses wide with the fastball, ball 1. Uggla has grounded to second, flied to center, grounded to short, and popped up to second base. The pop-up came with a runner at third and 1 out in the 6th as DJ Carrasco got a huge out. Prado at first with 2 down. And Uggla lines a base hit. Prado goes to second. He'll take the turn, head for third as Hairston's throw comes in. So Uggla extends his hitting streak to 28 games. And the Braves have first and third and 2 out. Second time in this series that Uggla's waited to his final at bat to get a hit.
And 20 out of the 28 games now that he's hit in consecutively have had just 1 hit in the ball game. Big hit here, though, to push Prado over to third base.
Now the pitcher's spot is due up, and Brooks Conrad will come up to pinch hit. Conrad, the switch hitter, appeared yesterday, hit a long fly ball to right field that was caught. So now the go-ahead run at third with 2 down after Uggla's base hit. And Conrad takes a fastball for a strike. Donnie Venters getting ready in the Atlanta bullpen after O'Flaherty was pushed through an inning and a third and gave up a run for the first time in 2 months. And Conrad yanks one foul, and it's 0-2. Conrad has been very effective during his time as a Brave as a pinch hitter, including a memorable home run he hit off Francisco Rodriguez last time the Mets were in Atlanta.
The last 2 seasons have been, at least offensively, magic for Brooks Conrad.
Yeah, just don't put him in the field, as the Braves found out during the postseason last year. He's got 3 pinch hit home runs this season. But Parnell's ahead of him 0-2. In there for a call, strike 3. Got him looking at the slider. And Parnell gets the big out in the top of the 8th. Now the Mets will come up with Duda and Tolley to try and grab a lead in the bottom of the 8th, tied at 5. Come into a 5-5 game to pitch the bottom of the 8th with the Mets sending up left-handed bats.
Well, just like O'Flaherty coming in with amazing numbers, ERA, strikeouts, innings pitched. He's been had by the Mets of late.
Mets were able to get a couple of base runners against Venters on Friday night. A walk to Murphy, a single by Wright, but then Pagan and Bay each were retired on 1 pitch as the Mets fell short. Mets have battled from 3 runs down today. Duda's up for the first time in the game, and he takes a strike. Duda came into the game when Murphy left because of injury on the stolen base by Constanza in the 7th. And he takes a rip, and it's 0-2. Duda started in right field last night, went 1 for 3. Josh Tolley is hitting in the leadoff spot in the order. He's on deck, and then Justin Turner. 5-5 bottom of the 8th. And Duda down on 3 pitches. Venters takes care of him in a hurry. 1 away.
Well, that was one of those no chance at bats. Fastball on the knees and 2 sliders. Perfect by Johnny Venters.
So here's Tolley up for the first time. Came in on the double switch in the top of the inning. Josh had a huge day yesterday. A single, a double, a home run. Also threw on Michael Bourne trying to steal, so it was an all-around big day for Tolley, and he fouls back the fastball, 0-1. The Braves 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. The Mets 5 runs, 11 hits, and 3 errors. On the day when the Mets have lost both Reyes and Murphy to injury, they're trying to persevere. Jason Isringhausen getting ready as Tolle lines one to center field. On comes Bourne to grab it. Hanging breaking ball that time by Venters, but he got away with it. 2 out. So now Justin Turner with 2 out and nobody on. Turner 1 for 4 today. Single to center back in the first. Since then has flied out twice and struck out. On the heels of his 2 home run day yesterday. Venters, by the way, has given up only 1 home run this year in 66 innings.
He's a sinker ball pitcher. Very rarely throws anything above the knees.
Well, he did to Tolle.
Yes, he did. Not only that hanging slider, but the first pitch was up also.
Now, these young Atlanta pitchers have been brilliant, but there's been a lot of concern about whether they have been overworked. And that'll really be tested over these last 7 weeks of the season. Two balls and a strike to Turner with David Wright on deck.
You notice it, don't you, Gary, how quickly these relievers work for Atlanta late in games?
It's the way it should be, right? No visualization necessary. Well, the other thing is that pitchers tend to work faster with nobody on base. These guys don't give up many base runners.
Yeah, that's right.
Now it's 3-1 to Justin. And he checks the swing, takes it high for ball 4. And so the Mets have a 2-out base runner with David Wright coming up. Well, the Braves have used O'Flaherty and Venters out of their bullpen. That still leaves them with plenty to go to from both sides, including their closer, Craig Kimbrell. As far as the Mets bench is concerned, everybody's been used except Jason Friday. So here's Wright, who's 0 for 4 today and has struck out 3 times. But he had a base hit against Venters on Friday night. There's Friday, the lone man left in the dugout. And that off-speed pitch misses badly for ball 1. Well, Venters a little all over the place here in the 8th inning. Let's see if Wright can take advantage.
Since he has had that little more of a crouch on the plate, David's been handling that pitch down in the strike zone better.
And now it's 2-0. David's had 3 career at-bats against Venters. The base hit Friday was his first hit. Scott Hairston on deck. On 2-0, Wright takes it high, and Venters is behind 3-0. So a 2-out walk to Turner, and now a 3-ball count to Wright. And we don't see David swing 3-0 often. Maybe this would be the spot for it.
I'd like to see him swing 3-0 if he gets his pitch.
Taking all the way. I guess 1 never have before is enough for the day for David. Never having played shortstop before. Is he on call, hoping for a save opportunity in the 9th after Parnell got the final out in the 8th. Now it's 3-1 to Wright. And he takes a strike. He didn't think so. But Tony Randazzo rings up a high strike, and it's 3-2.
Ball comes down just a bit. Looked like it was going to trend inside, came back over the plate.
So now Turner will be in motion with 3-2 and 2 out. 3-2 from Venters. And he walked him. And the Mets have 2 men on. So back-to-back walks issued by Johnny Venters. Roger McDowell out for a conversation.
Well, just going to try to settle down his big left-hander. But a nice position here for Scott Hairston, who's been outstanding in the last month or so. clutch performances. Remember the home run he hit, of course, against Wilson in San Francisco.
And one against Drew Storen in Washington. Hairston has been as good a late inning hitter as the Mets have had in 2011. And he's up here with the go-ahead run in scoring position and 2 out. Scott is 0 for 4 today. He's lined to center, fouled out, struck out, and popped up.
Boy, look at Prado in left field. That's very deep when you're trying to cut off the go-ahead run.
2 on and 2 out, 5-5 bottom of the 8th. And Hairston takes high. Venter's really having trouble commanding anything right now. Turner the go-ahead run at second, right at first with 2 out. And Hairston attacks the slider and misses 1-1.
Down and in, just nasty breaker there by Johnny Venters. Only a short time to identify that pitch, whether it's the sinker or a slider.
Tristan Martinez up in the Atlanta bullpen. He's been up 2 or 3 times today. Hard to envision taking Venters out, though, unless he gives up the go-ahead run. On 1-1, Hairston watches up and away, and that missed very badly. Boscott fortunate to keep that from going to the backstop. Jason Bay, who's been on base 4 times in a row today and scored 3 runs, waiting on deck. Mets led this game 2-1, trailed at 5-2, came back with 2 in the 6th, and an RBI double by Pagan to tie it in the 7th. Now trying to grab a lead in the bottom of the 8th. And Hairston pops it up. Freeman tracking it into fair territory. Side retired. Venters walks the pair, gets Hairston to pop up, and we head to the 9th at Citi Field, tied at 5. Here at Citi Field. Mike Pelfrey takes them out against Tim Stauffer. Coverage begins tomorrow at 6:30 with Pepsi Max pregame live right here on SNY. Bobby Parnell, who got the final out in the 8th, stays on for the 9th to face Alex Gonzalez, who hit a 2-run homer off Dylan G back in the 5th. 1 for 4 on the day. 5-5 as we start the 9th. And Gonzalez pops one up. Turner out. A long way to go. Pagan in and left to play it on a hop. And Gonzalez has himself a pop fly single. Pagan playing very deep in no doubles mode, just wasn't going to get there.
Yeah, the only play was for Turner. That's just, he couldn't have dropped it in there better.
So the Braves get the leadoff man on, and now you've got Constanza up, and you have to figure he's going to be bunting.
Oh, you got Constanza up. You also have some inexperience at the corner, and Nick Evans is going to have to try to take this bunt away with that great speed of Constanza.
Mets have inexperience just about everywhere on the infield, with Duda at first and Wright at short and Evans at third. Mets sell out for the bunt, and Constanza gets it down nicely. Evans has to go to first with it. 5-4 on the sacrifice, moving Gonzalez to second. Let's check in with the guys in the studio, Chris Carlin, Bobby Ojeda, see what's coming up on Lincoln post-game live. All right, guys, now Eric Hinske is going to bat for J.C. Boscan with the go-ahead run at second base and one out in the top of the ninth. And let's see how the Mets handle this. You've got Hinske up in the 8th spot, and then you got Chipper Jones on deck in the 9-hole. You got first base open, and you know you certainly don't want to walk Hinske to pitch to Chipper, but Hinske right now is probably just as dangerous.
He had a pinch hit at bat in Friday night's game. Struck out looking.
10 home runs this year. 2 of them as a pinch hitter for Hinske. Wright trying to keep Gonzalez close at second. Meanwhile, they are in some conversation, presumably about the Murphy injury. Constanza spiking Murphy on the outside of his knee and clearly creating some kind of knee issue. We've yet to get a medical report. Taken high by Hinske, 2-0.
David had the wrong knee, but you get the idea.
It was the left knee for Murphy, who hurt his right knee last year. Been one thing after another with Murphy. You really hope it's nothing serious.
Yes.
Now Parnell behind 2-0. And Hinske checks his swing on the slider, and he stopped it in time. It's 3-0. Parnell gave up a hit to his first batter in the 8th inning, but then struck out Conrad. Christian Martinez up alongside Craig Kimbrell in the Atlanta bullpen. And that's ball 4, so Chipper's going to come up with 2 men on. So Parnell walks Hinske on 4 pitches. And so Chipper, who came up with a runner in scoring position in his first at bat in the 7th, will get a chance to unlock this game in the 9th.
Well, this inning all started unlucky for Bobby, who gave up that pop-up hit that fell in between Turner and Pagan. We'll try to limit the damage here with Chipper Jones up. Scouting report by Worthen given to Bobby, telling David to make sure you keep Gonzalez close so you give your outfielders a chance on a base hit. And Chipper, the way he's running now, prime candidate if you can get a ground ball, get out of this inning.
Chipper Jones just 1 for 5 in his career against Parnell. Gonzalez at second, Hinske at first with 1 out. 5-5 top of the 9th. Chipper started last night at third base, went 1 for 4. Popped up in his only at bat today. And Parnell starts him off with a slider away. Braves 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position today. They've left 12. The Mets have left 11. And another slider, this one for a strike. Michael Bourne waiting on deck. He's hit a couple of bullets today. Braves have 9 hits. The Mets have 11. 1-1 to Chipper Jones.
Grounded to the right side, through, a base hit. Gonzalez around third, heads home. Hairston's throw to the plate has no chance, and the Braves have the lead. Chipper Jones strikes again in Flushing. 6-5 Atlanta.
Well, this ball found a hole. The only danger you have when you're facing breaking pitches to Chipper Jones, he's going to pull the baseball, and he picks a perfect spot out of the catch of, well, the grasp, sorry, of Justin Turner, and the run scores easily.
I'm not sure I understand, Ronnie. Why would you throw 3 consecutive sliders to a hitter as good as Chipper?
Not only as good, but also as intelligent as Chipper.
There's Michael Bourne with first and second and 1 out.
You always talk about not wanting to get beat on your secondary pitches or your second pitch. I think right now at this point in his career, Bobby Parnell's fastball matches up better against Chipper Jones.
There's that fastball right by Bourne.
That's how fleeting baseball can be, though, because he did get the ground ball, and if he centers that to Turner, it's a double play. So maybe not the wrong approach with the slider. 3 in a row, though. Very tough.
Isringhausen up in the Mets bullpen, but more importantly, Kimbrel now throwing in the Atlanta bullpen, getting ready for a save opportunity in the bottom of the 9th. Bourne is 1 for 4 and a walk today. Scorched one his last time up that Duda caught at first base in the 8th.
That's that good backdoor breaking pitch from Parnell. Trying to throw that to Chipper, caught more of the plate.
Now the 1-2. He struck him out. So Parnell gets Bourne for the second out of the inning. Second strikeout for Parnell, and the 8th today for Mets pitching.
Well, just blew it by him. All those breaking pitches to Bourne, and then right down the middle. Couldn't catch up.
So now 2 out and 2 on for Martin Prado, who's 0 for 3 today. He's been hit by a pitch and drawn a walk. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, the Mets are going to have Bay, Pagan, and the pitcher's spot due up, with Jason Pridey, the last man left in the dugout. Yeah, the series began on Friday night with the Mets clinging to a hope of being in a wild card race. Unless they can rally in the bottom of the 9th inning, this is going to be a tremendously painful Sunday afternoon, both in the standings and in the trainer's room. Jose Reyes leaving with a hamstring injury. Daniel Murphy leaving with an apparent knee injury. And the Braves behind Chipper Jones rallying to take the lead in the 9th. Now Parnell behind 2-0 on Prado. Smack to second, and Turner gets the force play to end the inning. Chipper Jones with an RBI single puts the Braves in front. Mets come up in the bottom of the 9th, down by a run. the injuries to Reyes and Murphy. And football news as well, all coming up on Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame right here on SNY. David Ross comes in to catch after Boscan left for a pinch hitter. And Craig Kimbrell, who has not given up a run since the middle of June, comes in to try and save it for Atlanta.
Just amazing numbers for Kimbrell, who's having arguably the finest rookie season of a closer in the history of the game.
Here's the good news. The last team to score against him, the Mets, back on the 14th of June. Jason Bay's been on base 4 times in a row today. 2 hits and 2 walks. He's stolen a base. He's scored 3 runs. It'll be Bay, then Pagan, and then Jason Pridey to bat for the pitcher here in the last of the ninth. Mets came from 5-2 down to tie. Now coming from 6-5 down, trying to get it even. And Bay lines one over short, and he's on base for the 5th straight time. Jason Bay has come alive these last few days. 3 for 3 and a couple of walks today, and the Mets have the tying run aboard.
Well, 1-0 fastball. Jason ready for it. And the linea over the head of Alex Gonzalez.
So here come the Mets again. And Angel Pagan, who had a walk-off home run for the Mets against the Cardinals a few weeks ago, comes to the plate. Angels 1 for 4 today. He hit the sinking line drive double that drove in the tying run in the 7th inning. Pridey on deck to bat for the pitcher. Day has already stolen a base today. His 10th of the year. He stole it uncontested in the 7th and came in with the tying run.
Well, 2 throws almost wide of Freeman at first base.
There has not been a stolen base this year with Kimbrell on the mound, and opposing base stealers have been caught 3 times. The rookie Kimbrell, just 22 years old and leading the National League in saves, tied with Brian Wilson. Chipper Jones staying in at third, and Pagan drops down a bunt but foul. So the Mets looking to sacrifice here in the 9th, something that Terry Collins has not been doing much of this year with his position players.
No, Gary, I don't think it's a bad play, and the reason I'll tell you why. Very hard to get 2 or 3 hits in a row off Kimbrell. You give yourself a chance, if you get them over, to get 1 hit out of 2 hitters to drive in that tying run.
On the other hand, Pagan, tough guy to double up.
Yeah.
And Angel lays off as he again squares a ball and a strike.
I think in some ways, Gary, you think of your team, if you can get it back to even. You've gone through O'Flaherty. You've gone through Venters. Maybe you've gone through Kimbrell with an even score going into extra innings.
Kimbrell's converted 15 straight save opportunities. And Pagan takes a strike. So now he's down in the count 1-2. And what do you do now?
Well, this ball is a good one to bunt down in the strike zone. I think Angel thought that ball might leak out of the strike zone, but stayed true with that 95-mile-an-hour heat.
So in all probability, Pagan will be asked to swing the bat here. They had the tying run at first with nobody out. And Angel bounces one slowly. The tag, the toss, double play. Ugla handled it perfectly, and the Mets are down to their final out.
Well, it's not done anymore. No chance for Jason to stop and get in a run down. The only way to get out of that play is you have to go full bore as a runner, run over the second baseman, and take him out of the play. It's not a play that's used anymore. It was the only play viable there for Jason.
Well, the other night we saw the Marlins with John Buck break up a play like that by Buck stopping, but that was not in the cards either. So the Mets are down to their final out with Jason Pridey pinch hitting. Pridey hitting at .234. He's got some pop, but Kimbrel not a guy who gives up home runs, only one all year. And Jason takes a mighty hack and fouls it back 1-1. If Friday can keep it going, Nick Evans would be next. Friday 3 for 16 as a pinch hitter this year. And Jason takes inside, 2 balls and a strike. And that misses, and now Kimbrel behind 3-1. And Friday fouls it off. He had a pitch to hit.
He did.
And now the Mets are down to their final strike.
See Jason's reaction, got him talking to himself.
Now the 3-2. And he walked him, and the Mets are alive. Friday draws a 2-out walk, and Nick Evans will come to the plate with the tying run aboard. Well, we were talking earlier in the game about opportunity as it related to Nick Evans. He has got himself an enormous opportunity right now to cement himself on this team.
Yes, he had a chance in the 7th inning, took a called 3rd strike. Now against one of the toughest righties in baseball.
And with Murphy going out with an injury today, we don't know how long he'll be out. It creates even bigger opportunity for Evans. And Nick takes inside for ball 1. Evans hit 8 home runs in Buffalo this year. He has 1 in the big leagues this year. (1-0) from Kimbrel, and Evans takes a big hack. 1-1.
Fastball, middle of plate, little up there for Nick Evans, but a team that's suffered a lot of injuries all year, suffered a lot of injuries in this game alone. Is there one magic moment?
2 balls and a strike. Well, if Evans keeps it moving, Lucas Duda would be next. With the tying run at first and 2 out. Evans fouls it off, and again the Mets are down to their last strike. Two. Fouled off. 98 from Kimbrel, dialing it up a notch. Pagan has the only walk-off home run for the Mets this season. And Evans taps one slowly. Chipper Jones comes in, makes the toss, and the ball game is over. A crushing loss for the New York Mets. Both on the field, losing 2 out of 3 to the Braves and falling 9 behind, but more importantly, injuries to Jose Reyes and Daniel Murphy as the Braves rally for a run in the 9th and beat the Mets 6-5.
Well, this will leave the stunned clubhouse for the Mets this afternoon. Clubhouse and bench in a game that Dylan G, in the first time in his career, has given up 2 home runs in a start. The Mets left 12 men on base. They tried every single combination of infielders and outfielders this afternoon. Jason Bay with a big day, 3 hits and 3 runs scored, and still not enough for the Mets to take 2 out of 3 from Freddie Gonzalez's Atlanta Braves.
So the Braves get a big hit from a familiar face in Flushing as Chipper Jones drives in the winner in the top of the 9th. And the Mets, after coming from 3 runs down, fall to the Braves 6-5 to fall back to a game under 500 for the season. More coming up from Citi Field in just a moment.